one that they're touting is a pretty
All
bright
right.
orange and yellow.
So I'm letting in all of the people online. And you are all the ones who know how to get on from here. So, yay. And there I go. Getting ready for everyone. All right. Hi, Suzanne. And Owen, and I'm trying to get this one to start. My my laptop, this is not good. Oh, there it is. It's restarting. I ended up restarting my laptop. Everything is, maybe it's too cold. Everything is slow to start today. I need to figure something out with my exit from the house time. Now with the kids going late to school in the past, they were in school, but now on Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's their late start days and they're not having to be at school until 9:15. And the morning has become very different and hectic. Anyway.
Boy, I remember the pictures of when they were just little guys.
I know. Those of you who took the iLife classes, you all tend to see all of my family because in the photos class, I use all of my personal photos. Excuse me? Oh, I've heard that the link is bad again.
Yeah, I know.
So go use the email from the other day that I said, go use this link.
A Tuesday link.
Yeah, the link where I said incorrect link, use this one. I fixed it. I got a reminder from Julie. I fixed it, but obviously where I'm getting it from, that I normally get them from, is not working because the email wasn't fixed clearly. So I'm gonna have to resend my link saying, go to this incorrect link again. Yeah, I just got an email saying that was the incorrect link.
Yeah,
So
Tuesdays
I
we
need
break.
to,
I don't have Tuesday. You don't have the email? No, I deleted it already.
Oh.
You're really.
she's the ideal, isn't she? The way you should be. Okay,
Sometimes it works.
so
for
I'm
you.
gonna
Yeah,
send
it
the
works.
incorrect one again. No, I'm gonna send the correct one.
Okay.
And I need to, I was pretty sure I had fixed the link, but it wasn't. All right, so now I sent the correct link again about the incorrect link, which is very uncomfortable. Yeah, let me just reply.
It worked using yesterday or Tuesday. I'm not.
Okay, so now I'm answering all the emails to people who are saying it's not working, it's not working.
It's a small thing, really.
Okay, all right, I've finished answering all the emails of people who are rightfully telling me that my link is not working, and I'm so sorry about that. But there you go. All right, let me let everyone in. Yeah. Oh, Michael had just emailed you. The person I was emailing was you, two people who warned me. So sorry, guys, I was so sure. I was sure that I had corrected the email with the correct link, but I guess the place I'm sourcing my links from is now what's suspect. So I need to fix that. Okay, so everyone's showing up. Let me go and put this. And the sound, turn the light off. Oh, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Sorry again about the link. I was so sure that I had corrected it, but I must have the wrong source of links. I must have, anyway, because I just picked that one up from an email that I always write and I copy it and paste it each time for all the reminders, but I'm gonna have to go and fix that original one. So anyway, I apologize for once again giving you the incorrect link. And we're all here now, so not bad. Not bad, given that you guys are getting accustomed to go find the new link. So well done for you guys for being here. And welcome back. As you can see, it's really cold here and I'm wearing my, what I call my wearable blanket. It's a poncho, but it's just an excuse for putting a blanket on when I'm in school. Because it's funny, I haven't used it for 2 years, right? Because for 2 years I've been teaching from home, and when it's cold, you just kind of go out midday, and so you don't have to go out in the cold. So I'm just noticing how long it's been since I've had to brave the weather. Other than for when I go exercise or stuff, but then I don't wear this. But anyway, it's not moth eaten. I pulled it out and I'm very happy. Hopefully you guys are all doing well in your homes, in your short sleeves. Jim, flaunting that you're home. Okay.
I just went for a walk.
Say that again.
I just went for a walk and I got all warm, so I took off my jacket.
Yeah.
Night. Kind of nice outside.
So, yeah, well, so guys, everyone who's here, if you please can come up and sign in the roster. It doesn't let you in. You're not in my waiting room.
There.
Oh, that one. Oh, you're trying to get into. Okay. Yes. Yes, but. Has it from last time. For those of you who are local, meaning here in the classroom, when you connect to Wi-Fi, it's SBCC, not SBCC guest. You are a SBCC, you're a student, you have an access pass. SBCC guest is people who don't have a pipeline account, and it's a whole different deal. All right, if you guys ever come into school with your phones and your computers, you can connect to the Wi-Fi by using your pipeline username and password, which seems to be the key for anything that's got to do with school. Just know your pipeline username and password and you can get in. I just want to throw it again. I mentioned it in the other class, but I want to mention it again to you guys. Someone has to turn their sound off. I can hear a reverb, like their sound, their disconnect there. Jeanette, have you turned disconnected sound from both of yours? I think it's, hold on, let me help. Yeah, so go down to. No.
Yes.
Go over here.
It's a nice part.
Computer audio.
Yeah.
And then over here, you're gonna connect the same thing. All right, there we go. We were having that reverb in the room when two people have the sound on. Okay, so I was just mentioning that I was at the theater again yesterday with Santa Barbara City College Theater. And as a reminder, not so much, yes, to remind you too, that you have student passes. It's only $10 to go to the theater. They're showing a really fun play, The Importance of Being Earnest. I went yesterday, it was great. But I'm just saying that in part because don't forget, you guys are students now. You can get a student discount wherever there's student discounts, which some of you are seniors and you get senior discount, but sometimes student pass is cheaper than senior pass. So anyway, consider that you can get better prices as one or the other, because now you're a City College student. So I just want to remind you of that in particular, in this example, is for something that's part of the college. But if you go to stores or museums or stuff, sometimes student passes are cheaper than discounts are cheaper than senior discounts. And definitely for those who aren't seniors, then definitely use your student discount, right? Anyway.
Deanna,
Yeah,
Deanna, do we have to get some kind of identification then from Wake or Shot Center for that?
yeah. If you come to the front office, you just say, I want my card, and they go, okay, they put you in front of a
Thank you,
camera,
teacher.
they shoot, and it takes like 2.5 minutes to shoot out a little credit card sized student pass.
Okay,
It's a student ID, yeah, and then you carry that in your purse or wallet or back pocket or whatever. And you get your discount. Someone here has to turn their,
That's me again.
oh, okay, so that same little arrow next to the microphone. Rod, can you check in on Jeanette and see if she knows which one it is? Turn the sound off. Okay. So there's a couple people, or at least one person here, Rod, who told me that he chose to download Ventura. So if anyone else at home is feeling really tempted to download Ventura, just know that until I get a Ventura capable computer, you have to share your screen with me for me to try to figure out what's up with you, because I don't have one and I can't, do that work, so to say. I can't do that thing, and hopefully they're working on getting me one. But that, which is fine, just share your screen, I'll look at what's there and then I'll help you within that. But it's harder to demo something when it has to do with system preferences and a few other features that are new. All right. So welcome everyone, welcome. And I normally say hi to people as they're dropping in, but today everyone kind of dropped in at the same time. I guess because I sent the incorrect link again and you all got it at the same time and you all clicked on the same one at the same time. So hi to everyone who just showed up.
Morning, teacher.
And hi Janine, who just came in here. And we'll continue today with our class. Is there any question about what we did last class, or any more Ventura questions? Since that's the two things we did that, and then we started working with how to access the cloud on both computers, and then we started with the system preferences and the settings and with Safari. So any questions amongst all of those choices that we did? Yes, Anna?
When I was reading your paperwork and I was watching the videos from the first class,
Yeah.
sorry if that is wrong or not, but
That's what I
What
asked
about-
everyone to do.
what is the difference between iCloud Drive and iCloud?
Okay, we're gonna actually get to that. In fact, you probably are watching the videos of the intro to the Mac class, but in the introduction to the Mac, that's the first one, which I told you guys, please go to that one and learn about updating or upgrading, right? Because that's where I had that conversation. But the answer to your question is that in the second class, Mac level 1. In Mac level 1, we spent a lot of time the distinctions between iDrive and iCloud Drive. There's also handouts. I don't want to answer that right now just because but let me show you the handouts.
No, I read it, I saw it, but I could not figure it out, the different cloud
Okay.
storage and all
So-
that stuff.
I'll spend just
No,
one
continue.
minute. No, but I'm
Please.
sure that if you have that question, I didn't share the right thing. If you have that question, it's a valid question. I'm going to explain it rather quickly, and for deeper explanation, please go to the recordings. But basically the iCloud itself, right?
Uh-huh.
Cloud, not the iCloud, but the iCloud is that space where you have all the stuff that belongs to you in your Apple account up on the internet. So anything, and the reason I'm not going to talk today, I'm going to explain right now what the iCloud Drive is, but it's not the gist of today's class, but the iCloud is the gist of today's class. So by default, you'll get most of the explanation, Anna, by the time I'm done with this. So when you guys have three or 4 or 5 Mac devices, Apple devices, or one, no matter how many you have, that device doesn't live on its own. So say all you have is a laptop. A few of you guys, all you have here is a laptop. You even have a Google phone or something, right? So if all you have is a laptop, you sign in to your computer with your Apple ID. Like it asks you to create one. You have an Apple ID. If you own any Apple device, no matter what, you have an Apple ID. So when you enter that Apple ID into your computer, then your computer, by default, meaning if you don't make any changes in the settings, what it's going to do, it's going to send to the iCloud a lot of the information that has to do with your Apple ID. And that's the conversations that we're going to find out. What is that stuff? What is that Apple ID? Because that is the gist of this Mac Level 2. All the apps that are part of the Apple ID is what we're going to be doing. And so if you change nothing, right? Your computer, you open it up, you set up your Apple ID, then by default, just with the original settings, you have a space in the cloud, which the cloud itself, let me actually back up to the cloud itself. This is the cloud. So the cloud is basically what we kind of call all the connected computers of the world, which is kind of like the internet, right? So each big company has a piece of the cloud. So Microsoft has a piece of the cloud, they call it OneDrive. Apple has a piece of the cloud, they call it iCloud. Google has a piece of the cloud, which is Google Drive, Adobe Cloud, etc. So there's every company that makes software has, when I say a piece of the cloud, meaning an area where you can access it only if you have an account. So you guys have all of our class handouts are in our school Google Drive. The Pipeline account is a Google Drive. So you can't get the handouts until you what? You use your username and your password, your Pipeline username and password. You get your handouts from the Google Drive, right? Well, for Apple, to get into all the stuff that's in your computer that's part of the Apple account, you need to know your Apple ID, which is your account name, and your password. So each company does the same thing. For those of you who use Microsoft OneDrive or who use Photoshop and stuff like that, you need your account that you have purchased, the Microsoft programs, or your account and password that you have purchased, that you create when you purchase the like Photoshop. Adobe is Photoshop, Illustrator, Design, that kind of stuff, right? So, and this is just a few, but there's a ton more. So it's like all the stuff that you have in your computer goes to, and so iCloud is a brand name. OneDrive is a brand name. Google Drive is a brand name. Adobe Cloud is a brand name. These are all the brand names of the space owned by Apple. Okay, now of that space owned by Apple, the one that's called iCloud is the Apple one. Okay, so now of this Apple, each one of you guys owns a little tiny bit. Like you have this tiny little bit of it that has your stuff, Rod stuff, Janine stuff, Martha stuff. It goes into one little bit of it, right? That only you can access with your Apple ID. So what goes into it now is this. So when you go to let's say that your computer dies. It just one day fails, or you lose it, or it cracks, or earthquake, hurricanes, mud flows, all the nice stuff happens, and your computer absolutely disappears. Your stuff that was on your computer that was Apple related, okay? So not if you have like Excel files or stuff like that, but if it was Apple related, then that stuff, hi Joseph, that you can recover because it is also in the cloud because of that connection. So when you go to the cloud, if you want to go to the iCloud and you put in your Apple ID and password on any browser, so on Safari, on Chrome, on whatever, you just go to any person's computer, say that your house has been swept away. You go to any computer that someone who still has a house, and I'm saying this because, you know, so many of these things are actually happening in this country. You go to someone else's house, if you know your Apple ID and password, you type it in, you go iCloud.com, you type in your Apple ID and password, and you get to this place where anything you have in these apps that I'm showing you right here and more, you'll see, is still there for you to get. So what these ones are is dependent on, hold on. I desperately need to be able to. I'm having an issue with my laptop today, which if I can't set up, I can't show you the cloud, and I desperately need to show you the cloud because with my school computer, I can't show you the cloud. But it's not, I guess it decided it's too cold to work. Here. I don't know what's happening to it. It's not.
I warm it up when mine doesn't work. I put it in the control.
Yeah, no, but it's interesting because it really is, it just flashes on and off.
Yeah, it is. You can see the apple coming out.
Let
Put it
me-
under your poncho.
I know, I'll put my poncho over it. I'm sorry, you guys at home don't know what I'm doing, but truly, my laptop, the one I teach you about the cloud, is flashing on and off, and I feel like it's too cold. I don't know, you can be too cold. I mean, you guys don't know, it's really cold here.
When they're old, they really.
Martha, you're joining us from home right now. You should be happy. Martha is usually sitting here, but today, oh my God. Okay, I don't know. It's just refusing to stay on. I might need to put it under my blanket. I don't know what to do because with that one, I need to show you guys. Okay, well, I'll figure it out how to show you the cloud. I know. I don't know.
Well, you see, I should not ask questions.
No. This is no, but by the way, guys, I'm not just everyone pay attention. I'm not answering Anna's question. This is today's class. Okay. It's just that she asked what the iCloud Drive. I haven't mentioned it yet. At some point, I'll mention it. But the explaining and talking about the iCloud is today's class, Anna. So it's not like I'm taking this
Okay.
time just for you. Everyone should be focused on what I'm saying. I'm going, it's like you asked, what's this neighborhood, and I'm starting by explaining the earth, then the city, and then I'll get to, oh, and that's the neighborhood you're asking about, right? Because the iCloud Drive is a little part of all of this that I'm mentioning. So unfortunately, it has a very similar name, so it's confusing. But anyway, so I'm not gonna be able to show it to you
Okay.
until my computer, maybe I should put it out in the sun for a little sun bath or something, which is usually bad for a computer, but so like, oh, it's all I can think of because it's, yeah, you see the light turning on and off? There, it's on off.
It just, yeah.
The light was coming.
Yeah, it's weird. And this is bad because I've been telling people I need a new computer and they're not buying me one. So I'm bringing this oldie from home. And I'm wondering if I'm hurting my last little bit of my laptop, which by the way is my TV. This is the family TV. This sits by my monitor and I connect it to my TV and we look for programs here. So I'm leaving my house without a TV if this dies for having brought it to class.
Should all go in the office. And
All right, I give up. It's really not responding. So I'm gonna have to teach without it. So you guys, everyone here can see my computer flashes on and off, and so everyone's talking. You guys at home, I'm telling you what's happening so you understand. All right, so here's the deal. The iCloud is a place you can access by going to any browser and typing iCloud.com. And then it says, okay, what's your Apple ID? And you give them your Apple ID. What's your password? You give them your password, and you enter this place that I'm showing you right now. And it has any mail that's part of your iCloud account. So this we're going to talk about quite a bit, okay? So hold on, because not all of you use your Apple ID account. Then it has your contacts, anything you had in your calendar, your photos, if you turn that option on. iCloud Drive, see, here's your question, Anna. One of the apps, Joe, so you need to turn off the disconnect account. There you go. Thank you. Your iCloud Drive, your notes, your reminders. So these are all things that are, find your phone. These are all things that are part of what your computer automatically sends up to the cloud. Okay, so we're gonna go visit this actually your own one of these in a minute. Not today, actually, man. Maybe today. Let me decide now that your computer's not working. I might not be able to show it to you today. But what happens is that in these apps on your phone, on your computer, maybe you've been writing your phone numbers and addresses. Maybe you've been putting in your appointments for the doctor or whatever. If you lose your phone, if you lose your computer, you haven't really lost it forever, because it's still there in the cloud. You buy another phone, you buy another computer. The new phone or computer asks you for Apple ID, you type it in, and all this information that's sitting in the cloud zooms back to your computer. So all the stuff that's in these apps that's been sitting there when your computer died, when you put in a new computer, it goes back into your computer, okay? So it's like it all lives up there. Now, what lives up there is what you see in here and some more stuff that's about your system settings. Your choice is whether you want or not to have your photos online. That's your choice, and I'll show you how to make that choice or not. Your choice is whether you want to turn on things like Find My Phone, Find My my smartwatch if you have one, Find My laptop. So I'll show you about that too. Okay, someone again has a new, someone just connected. Okay, there you go. Thank you. As soon as I start getting that double sound, it's when you guys arrive after you connect to Zoom, go ahead and remember to go and disconnect your account. But if not, all it takes is this to happen and I'll remind you. And then there's a bunch of stuff that goes into the iCloud Drive. Now the iCloud Drive is equivalent to the hard drive of the iCloud. It's that place that holds your files. And we spent the entire Mac level 1 talking about our files. Remember, like the cookie recipe, the financial statements of your bank, your taxes, your whatever it is, files that you have in your computer that you've created or received or made, your budget, your will. I don't know what you guys keep in your computers. Whatever you keep in your computers are files, right? And these files get kept in the iCloud Drive as long as you made that choice. So those choices are the ones that we talked about exhaustively during Intro to the Mac and Mac Level 1. And we're going to keep talking about them now for a lot of these other apps that we haven't talked about. Like Mac Level 1 spent the whole time talking about your documents and desktop that are in the iCloud Drive. So that's why I'm saying, Anna, to go look at the Mac Level 1 recordings, because the whole time in the Mac Level 1 class, we talked about your computer, your files, desktop, and document. And if they are on the cloud, that's where you'll find them in the cloud.
I've been watching it last
Good.
night.
And it's, you know, it's 6 classes, so it's many hours, so it'll take some time. And the whole point is, I'm not saying go and live off of my recordings. I will keep, you know, talking about it a bit, but I will keep teaching these classes in the September, in the spring. I teach these classes again, right? So it's one thing to watch a recording, which gets boring and you're not off and I'm answering questions. It's harder than when you're in the class and you're actually asking the questions and doing the work. So anyway, what I'm saying is, at least to remind yourselves and help you, you have the recordings, but other than that, to hands-on work on your stuff, come to those classes again. Anyway, so your Mac desktop, your Mac documents are one of the things that live in the iCloud drive. What we have not talked yet amongst all these classes is about the rest of these apps, right? Calendar, contacts, notes, photos, reminders, pages, all of that. So that's the mail. That's what today's Mac level 2 class is going to deal with more. Now, if I open up what's in the, I have another app here that shows this. This is the same thing that I just showed in a weird drawing. It has your notes, your mail app, your iCloud drive, your calendars, your reminders. So this is just a description of what's in your iCloud drive. Now, let's all go ahead and open Safari and open a start page, because I want to take you to that iCloud place that I just talked about. So now this is just Safari, which those of you here who are at school need to open your own Safari, right? If you're doing this on your own computer.
Well, you know, you're gonna, I don't use Safari.
Yeah, but you're in that class.
No, I
right
know,
now.
so, you know.
Yeah, because it hasn't been used, so yeah,
It's fine.
I mean, look at yours. Some friends. No. Have everything. So if you've never used it, right, the Safari
Except
page
like, yes,
starts
the other day.
tracking the things that you do.
Yeah,
So
okay.
there's nothing really there to track yet, right? So go ahead and when you start going to something, it'll start giving you.
Okay, thank you.
Just open Safari. So, it's the Safari, so move it over a little bit. See what you do. And, now you're already in Google. So let me see for a second if your preference is set up that you go to. Let's start with that. Yeah, we'll talk about mail in a second. When I just opened Safari. Yeah. Okay, I was like, what? So I should have just. No, this is. No, let me explain the difference. This is a start page. Okay, so here's the thing. When some people here in class open Safari and they weren't in the page that I have now. Remember, I have this bear behind it because last week I chose to show you that and I have not been able to figure out how to choose to go back to blank again. But that's why I have a bear, but you guys could have something behind that's blank, or maybe you chose a different drawing. But what someone here, 2 people here were showing me, they don't use Safari, right? They've been using other browsers. So your start page, if you've never used Safari, is pretty much empty, right? Because Safari is a place that collects the sites that you go to, the favorites that you make, the frequently visited pages. And if you've never used it, it's pretty much almost a blank spot. Does that, it makes sense for that? You see, you guys? So maybe some of you guys at home don't use Safari and your start page is pretty empty as well. So you might have a couple of favorites and that's it. And then the rest is just a blank page. As you begin to use it, you'll begin to see things begin to register onto it. Okay. Now, one thing that I do want you guys to do today, make sure to have your phones. Everyone, just about everyone, except for I think Julie has an iPhone, right? Does anyone else not have an iPhone? Is anyone else with an Android in class?
Owen has an Android.
Owen has an Android. Do you, Becky, have an iPhone?
I have an iPhone.
You have an iPhone. Okay, so at least one of you guys in the room, so to say, has an iPhone. Okay, so I want you guys to go pick up your phones. Those of you who have iPads, which maybe half of you do, you can do this also on your iPads. Okay, so you can do it on I'm doing it. My brain can't think and speak at the same time. I'm just doing it on the iPad as we speak. Okay, so now I have my iPhone here. Go and find Safari. So I'm going to share my screen to show you how to find Safari, because if you aren't accustomed to using Safari, so here's my iPad that I'm sharing right now. And in my iPad, I have like this dock here at the bottom. And if you have a dock, the main apps that the iPad puts there for you, so it's similar-ish to the Mac, one of them is Safari, which is this one. But say that you don't have that there. Say that your iPad looks different and it looks like a bunch of apps or something like that, and you don't have this dock. Then if you put your finger somewhere here in the middle of the screen and just push down, so if this were my finger, this mouse is my finger, I'm putting in the middle and just gently pulling down, right? Then up there in the search, I can tap Safari, right? And say search, and it'll look for the app. That's the Safari app. And you click on it right there. Okay, so that's one way to do it on the on your iPad. Now I'm going to change that share and share my iPhone. And in general, I'm going to mainly share the iPhone and the Mac because the iPad is right in between, right? And not everyone has an iPad, but 99% of you guys have an iPhone or a Mac of some kind. That's why you're in this class. So whatever I show in the phone or on the Mac is basically almost the same, reproducible in the pad. So over here, if you see Safari somewhere, that's good. And the default setting of the phone, it's down here in this little mini dock. But if you've already changed your dock, which you can, you might not see it here. If you don't see it here, then again, put your finger somewhere in the middle of the screen and push down. And there under the search, again, you start typing Safari. And then Safari pops up. Now, why would you not be seeing it? Well, because maybe someone told you, oh, you need Chrome. So you've been downloading Chrome and you use Chrome for the internet. That's fine, but the Chrome doesn't come as an app that the phone nor the laptops bring. You need to have downloaded it to use. It's a competitor, so to say, browser. Google is a competitor's browser. So you won't find it. You need to have downloaded it. But Safari just comes, okay, in your phone. Again, I'm not saying you have to use Safari over Chrome. I'm teaching you how to use Safari because it's the Mac. It's the Mac app. So when you do open Safari, everyone last week made a bookmark in Safari, right? Hopefully you all made a bookmark. Remember I told you how to make a bookmark? Maybe you didn't. Maybe you didn't make a bookmark. But if you did make a bookmark on your computer, at the end of class, I showed you guys how to make a favorite bookmark, okay? That favorite bookmark you made on your laptop or on your desktop, if you made it, if you followed the class instructions and you did it. Now you're opening Safari on your phone, go to this little like open book here and click on it. And there are 3 different possible things to look at. There's done, there's history, or there's bookmarks. And here you have any possible bookmarks. And the top one is the one that we made last week, pipeline. Remember, we went to SBCC. If you click on that one, these are the ones that we did last week. If you click on that one, then it brings you here to the pipeline account that we did last week. So that was the bookmark. Now, since some of you might have not done it, I'm going to go ahead and show you again how to do that on the computer, and then you will see it on your phone. But the question isn't how come you're seeing, how do you make the bookmark, but how come you're seeing it on your phone is because of the cloud. Because what you do on your computer is on the cloud, and that cloud thus shares that stuff with your phone. Does that make sense? So again, I will show you in a second. Let me stop this share and share instead Safari. For those of you who did not make a favorite, so this is the favorite that we had made, okay? Or at least that I had made last week. So let's go ahead and make another one. I can't. Okay, if my computer doesn't work, I can't keep showing you the work of the cloud. This has really become a problem.
Oh, the light just.
Yeah, it turns on and off. I'm worried that maybe my computer's actually dying. I was joking a little bit about it being hot or cold, but
It's dying, but slowly.
no, this is bad.
Maybe it's updating, teacher, and you have to reboot it.
No. It pops on and I'm seeing the cloud. It's flickering. I don't know if it's my display that's flickering or because I can't teach you guys the cloud without the laptop because this
Maybe the charger or something.
no, yeah, it's all, it's there, it just, it's just flickering. How frustrating.
You want us all to go into the office with you and demand?
No, it's my boss and she's not here. No one, none of the wonderful women who sit behind the screen can do anything about it. Yeah, every time I'm. Okay,
We should all do a hands on. Excuse me, my phone says cannot open the page because the address is invalid on my phone.
for what it
For
is.
the, trying to get into Safari.
Yeah, that said it to me too.
Okay, but that's because you're in Safari.
I'm having similar.
That's what it said, teacher.
Safari,
Right, but then,
okay. How did you-
well, I did that, I think they're later today. Just right up, hop on to Safari.
But it's not
That's what
Safari.
I'm in.
These are all the-
So I don't, okay. You're out of here.
Yeah. All right, so, let me, okay, so guys, it's so hard to try to teach you something when I can't share it because then confusion starts happening. So right now, Janine showed me something that she said, oh, it's just showing me page is not there. But then I heard that someone from home said, yeah, me too. It's just that
Yeah.
it's not, that's not, you're not in the right place, right? So let me see. Let me see, you're showing. I'm seeing it, hold on. The account is not authorized access. Using this application. So,
But when I click it, it does, I say done and go back again and bring it back. It comes what my,
yeah, that's okay. I got,
it's a,
hold on, guys. I really need to backtrack because when what I'm trying to teach you, I can't teach.
Okay.
It only causes more confusion. You know what I mean? So, I'm trying to show you how the bookmark that you make in your computer should be in your phone, but I can't show you that because my computer isn't turning on. And those for whom it's working, good, but for those for whom it's not working, I can't troubleshoot you.
you want to use my computer, teacher? My link?
Not really, and it's, thank you for the offer. It's a great point. It's just that this account on my phone is my Apple ID. And so to show you this working, it wouldn't work with your Apple ID. You know what I'm trying to say? My Apple ID is the one I can't access when my computer is not working.
Here is my, what I have, my computer is in my phone right now,
Yeah.
teacher. Look,
I know your computer is your phone, but you can share your computer with a class, but you can't share your phone with the class. And so it's hard.
oh, okay.
You know what I'm trying to say? When you
Yes.
share a screen, your laptop is shareable, but your phone isn't able to share its screen because it's not connected to the Zoom class. So it becomes really hard to demo when I can't share both of my screens. I'm just, there's so much I can teach you. There's so much I can teach you, relax, that I'm just gonna, I need a minute to reset my brain to change what I'm gonna teach to something that I can teach you today while my computer is not working. You know what I mean? Because there's a ton of stuff I need to teach you in this class, and I might need to wait and see.
Couldn't you borrow one of the laptops in here? And replace what you got and go in on your ID and open that up on somebody else's laptop,
Mm-mm.
you know?
What I could do is borrow someone's laptop and someone's computer and use their stuff. But then the person who is here doesn't get to learn. And B, I would be entering their personal accounts. And here, what I shared with the school is a business, a school account that is fine to share, but I don't want to share people's personal stuff with the whole class.
alright.
So it's a great idea. Thank you. But if I put my Apple ID on someone else's computer, all the stuff that's in your computer disappears and my stuff appears. You know what I'm trying to say? So actually, let me stop this for a minute and let me explain something based on a question that was a great suggestion. Apple IDs are crucial in the world of Mac. So someone said, can you just borrow someone else's computer and put their ID on them? Guess what happens? If I borrow people here have their laptops. If I borrow one of their laptops and switch their computer to my Apple ID or the school Apple ID, all your stuff disappears and my stuff replaces it. And that's the power of the Apple ID, right? That's for better or for worse, that's the power of the Apple ID. If you put your Apple ID on a computer, that's the stuff that fills your computer. Now, it's not drastic or tremendous, because then when I sign out of my Apple ID and I put in your Apple ID, your stuff comes back in. But yeah, it truly is. Apple ID is powerful because it is your stuff. It's like you open the flow of your stuff from the cloud into your computer. You take your Apple ID off and that stuff lives in the cloud. Like the cloud is the default place for all the stuff, all your Mac stuff. It lives in the cloud. And if you buy a new phone, you open up the phone, you put in your Apple ID and all that stuff flows into your phone, right? If you buy a new laptop, you put in your Apple ID and all the stuff flows into your laptop. So you never need to lose your stuff the moment you lose your computer or your phone, because all your stuff lives in the cloud and enters and fills your devices as soon as you sign in with your Apple ID and password. And I keep saying that because many people remember their Apple ID, but they don't remember their password. So what happens if you do lose your phone tomorrow and now you have to go and buy a new one and put in your Apple ID and you don't know your password? Or there you're in a pickle because your stuff is in the cloud, but it's not in your phone. So don't, homework, if someone at this point hasn't yet found their Apple ID's password, you need to. And I think I showed last week, there's a handout of how to recover your password, your Apple ID password. Let me go and share my handouts again. I have one here, is how to how to find your Apple ID. If you forget your ID password, here it is. Reset your password, what to do. If you are still sitting there going, oh, I don't know my ID password, like typing it in yourself, then you should follow these steps. Because if what you do is, oh, my computer remembers it, or my fingerprint gives it to me, right? When you lose that device, you have to go into your iCloud.com account and password. The only one who can get in is you with your password. You can't do your fingerprint, or you can't do the computer reminder. Okay, so please, again, if you have not yet figured, if you do not know your Apple ID password, but you sit back going, oh, it's okay because I never need it because my phone remembers it or my computer remembers it, you're at risk that if you lose your phone and your computer, you won't know how to get in. Okay, you won't be able to get to all that stuff that's there. So, and this happened to a person who's not in class today, but who was taking my class quite a few times. Her husband passed away. She didn't know the password. She has no way to access all of the material that was in her husband's computer and password and account, and wanting to tell people that he had passed away, acquaintances. She couldn't, because she didn't know his password, right? So it's important. And by the way, there's a new feature on a phone where you can assign someone else to remember your password. So I'm gonna show you that. Okay,
I'm
all right.
Sorry, a quick, is Apple ID and password two separate things? Or are you using an Apple ID password, correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so let
Okay,
me
that's good
explain.
then, 'cause I have
Yeah.
a password.
Mhm.
I'm
I
just
get-
thinking I needed another name that I, or cat thing. that I
So,
didn't-
so here's the thing. Your Apple ID is like saying it's your membership, your account. The password is what lets you in, right?
Okay.
So you all have, you own a house, everyone knows the address of your house, but only you have the key to get in, right? So Apple IDs, we all know it, you need your password to get in, okay? So the Apple ID isn't particularly private, in the sense that it's just an email of an address, but you can't get in to the stuff that's in there if you don't know the password. Now, your computers and your phones remember it automatically, and so you pick up your phone, you try to get in, it lets you in. But if you lose that device, you need to know that password in order to get in again. I'm speaking kind of theoretically, so let me show you this. Let me be less than theoretical. Let's I'll open a start page if you haven't yet. If you don't have a start page on the Safari yet, please open one up. And then let's go up to search or enter website, and let's say iCloud.com. iCloud.com. Once you see it saying iCloud.com, hit return, your return key to go to iCloud.com. Okay, and so it takes you to this page. Now, this is everyone at home, at school, everyone. So I've been telling you that that your stuff is here, it's in the iCloud and it's in your handheld devices. And the moment it shows up from one to the other, it's because it goes through the cloud, right? And that place, that cloud is in the internet. So if you go to a browser that, any browser, not just Safari, this is any browser, it's just an address on the internet. You go to iCloud.com, it takes you to this page, sorry. And now we need to sign in. So it says, what is your Apple ID, right? So you type in whatever is your Apple ID. And if you don't know your Apple ID, it's the one that shows up in your computer or in your phone.
Should we do that now?
Yeah, go to iCloud.com
Okay, and then put in our.
and
Apple
put in
ID.
your Apple ID. Does anyone not know their Apple ID? I'll show you how to find it. Anna, your hand is up.
Yeah, I have a question. When I click my Apple ID, it come up with the finger thing. Now it come up like you. Now, do I need to put my password?
Well, hold on. First, when it says Apple ID, type in your Apple ID, okay? So go ahead and type in your Apple ID. Is everyone with me?
No, Deanna, for me, that's my email. Is that incorrect?
Yes, exactly, it's mine. I'm getting your email. thing. And then it's.
Is your-
continuing with
Email
Contact
address.
US.
Email address is your ID.
You show me how to do it. You do it over here. Go to
Okay.
iCloud.com. What?
I was saying that when you sign, in, you can either use the Apple's iCloud, new email address or your other email address.
No, okay, there's enough questions about this that I need to clarify some stuff then. For those of you who are on a laptop, open your system preferences and I'll show you what's your Apple ID. Open your system preferences. If you're on your, sorry, when I say laptop or computer, open your system preferences. Everyone go to your system preferences,
Okay.
okay? Now,
Mm.
oh, see, this is the one that I can't demo. I am unable to demo it here, but over here you see your name, right?
Yeah.
Like here, this computer and for many reasons that I can't finish to explain. And I'm gonna take clips of this and show it to the people who I'm asking a computer for, because I can't sign in to this school's Apple ID. So that's why it just says sign into your Apple ID, but you guys should see here your name on your own computers, right? Click on that, and when you click on that, you will see your name and an email underneath that. So I'm going to share, instead of my system preferences, I'm going to do the same thing with my phone, where I can show you what I'm talking about. When I open my settings,
Where are you?
so when I open my settings, you all seeing my settings now?
Oh, gosh.
This here in my phone is equivalent to what I was showing you on your computer. This is the phone that belongs to SBCC Business Services, but imagine it's yours. It would say Diana Musacchio or, Janine or Marta or Rod. Once you click on it, right under you, there's an email right there. There's an email. Same with your system preferences. If you do it on your own, so pick it up from your phone. Pick up your phone if you don't have your system preferences in front of you. I'm saying some people here don't have it. That
Oh,
is
system
that.
Okay.
That stuff that appears right here in this case for this phone, the Apple ID is sbcc0001@icloud.com. For some of you guys, it's a Gmail address, or it's a Yahoo address, or it's a Hotmail address, or it's whatever address is there. That is your Apple ID. Does that make sense, you guys? If you know your Apple ID, give me a green check mark. Like, yes, I figured out my Apple ID. I know my Apple ID. Now, and this is important, it might be your email that's current or not. For some people, you look at it and go, but that's not my email anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It does not matter. When you created your Apple ID, that's the email that you used to create it. So if you went to an Apple store and they said, what's your email? And whatever you said, that's what they put there. That became your Apple ID. Now, it's possible that was 10 years ago and you don't use that email anymore. Fine, that's still your Apple ID. It's like you name a kid, John, and then when, he's 15, you hate the name John. Well, that's still his name. That's just a name. It is not, despite what it looks like, an email address. What I'm trying to say is you could have canceled that Hotmail 10 years ago. You could have canceled that Yahoo, and now you're using a Gmail. Who cares? That is your Apple ID forever, because it's not related to your email address. Now, I always try to explain this as a Apple company. It makes sense that they ask you what's your email, they type it in and it becomes your Apple ID. As a teacher, it's really hard to explain, because when I got my email, my Apple ID 20 years ago, whenever it is that I got it, they let you put in whatever, when they let you invent something, and you'd invent something, and I think I put the name of my dog, or I don't know what was at that point you could just write anything in there, and that became your Apple ID. What happens is people couldn't remember Apple IDs because they had said something and they couldn't remember them, and then you couldn't access your stuff. So they decided to go, you know what, everyone knows their email. We're going to ask people, what's your email? You put in your email, and then it became your Apple ID. It might as well say Spotty the dog. It just happens to say, in this case, sbcc0001@icloud.com. It's just a word, but it looks like an email because probably when you first gave it to them, it was your email. And so half of you are like, but it is my email. What are you talking about? And I'm like, yes, but the other half of you are like, that's not my email anymore. So for those of you who are confused that it's not your email anymore, it's because it's just a word that looks like the email you had the day you gave it to them. For those of you who it's still your email, you're like, oh, but it is my email. Is that good for you? It's still your email until you change it. Your Apple ID will still be this email. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah.
When you change your email address for one reason or another, your Apple ID won't change. This that you see there will always and forever still be your Apple ID. Now, how you access it, how you click on it to see what's inside, that password is the one that you need to know. So when I go ahead and by the way, I'm looking at my screen. I said, those of you who figured out what your Apple ID is, please give me a check mark, but I'm not seeing check marks everywhere. So Vera, Rod, Ham, everyone who's here in person, Michael, who, by the way, hi, haven't seen you in a while. Owen, Alan, do you know now what's your Apple ID? Okay. I get a thumbs up. Okay, so now you all know your Apple ID. That is your Apple ID. Great. Hi, Justine. Nice to see you. All right. Now, in order to get into it, when you're on the internet, so Justine, just to catch you up, we just went to the internet and went to iCloud.com. We're trying to access our Apple account, our Apple ID account from the internet to see what's in it. So I'm typing in this one here, which is my Apple ID. And then it says, and then I click return, and then it says password. That's the password you need to know, right? So now I'm going to type in my password because I do know it. But if you do not know it, that if you don't know what to write in here, that's what I've said. That's when I said, go to your handouts and open the one called, if you forgot your Apple ID password, and follow the instructions to recover and create a new password that you will remember. Okay. So if you don't know it, now, if you do know it, right, which I happen to know mine, when I now say, and by the way, if you see keep me, if you click on keep me signed in on your own computers, that's good or bad. Because if you lose your computer, it's the more, in this case, it's good for you to remember it. Because if your computer just remembers it for you, once again, you don't really know if you know your Apple ID password. Anyway, so I'm going to sign in. But if it's your first time signing in, or if it's, you know, a new computer like this one for me, it'll go, are you really you? Because it's trying to keep you safe. And so it says, okay, a message with a verification code has been sent to your device. Enter that code to continue. So if I pick up my phone and see how I need at least one other device, then it says my Apple ID is being used to sign in on the web near Los Angeles. And when I click on that, I am getting a message that says Apple ID sign-in requested, allow or don't allow. Right? This is on my phone now. See, I'm being given a message that says allow or don't allow. So I'm going to say allow. And so then I'm getting a code, an Apple ID verification code. You see there? So I need to type that code in here. Now this is for me. You guys have to type in your own. I'm going to type in then 795487. And then it says, well, are you going to trust this browser? See how many times it stops you? Are you sure? Is this good? Are you going to, you know, I'm like, yes, I'm going to trust it. Okay. And then, because basically what you've just done is on a browser that could have been your computer, it could have been someone in China is trying to access your Apple ID. And so the computer is like, well, if it's someone in China, that is not you, then show me it's you because I sent you a code to your phone. Now, if you happen to be in China and you have your phone, you get the message and you type it in. Good, you got in. But if it's some other person who wasn't you, who just typed in your Apple ID, they don't get that code. They can't get in. Does that make sense? That's the whole two-step verification. Now, oh, look at that. And new iCloud is coming soon. Try it now and let us know what you think. Oh, more things that'll be different to show, which I love, but I'm not going to click on that right now. So here you go. This is my Apple ID. This is my stuff that's in my computer. And if I go in here, I'll have my contacts. And if I go in here, I'll have my calendar appointments. And if I go in here, I'll have my photos. By going to iCloud Drive, my class, my computer files, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? Now, this process here, who was successful? Let me go to your screen and clear all of the feedback. Who was successful in getting in to their Apple material from their homes? And if you were, give me a yes. And if you were not, give me a no. And don't give me a thumbs up, because in 2 seconds that'll disappear and then I'll think you didn't answer me. So change it to a little yes. And if you say no, I'm going here in person to some people who said no. And I'm- Ooh. And this is your Apple ID check, right? Sure. Oh. I tried to do that with Jeff the other day. I opened your, the other day and I was about to type in last night. Case, JS, or not? What is it? It's the password. Okay, so there's another issue. Hold on. Guys, something I'm just noticing here. I forgot to say, for some people, when they say password, there's two kind of passwords they could be asking for. They could be asking for your Apple ID password, which is what I was asked for here, because this computer does not have my personal Apple ID. But if it's your computer, like Jeanette's, it's asking for a user password. So if you're being asked for a user password, the word user, that password is the password that you use to open up your computer, which is not your Apple ID password. So if it asks for your user password, type in the same thing you type in to open up your computer. That is not the same as your Apple ID. But because people forgot their Apple IDs, now laptops, I'm remembering, and thanks Jeanette for showing me, they instead, as long as you've once in your life entered the password to the computer, the Apple ID to the computer, then they let you in with your user password. So that's a different password. And now, again, Apple making it easier for you to get into your Apple ID, but it's harder that if you lose your laptop, then instead of using your user password, it's going to ask for your Apple ID password because your laptop doesn't yet have your Apple ID. So if you still don't know if you know your Apple ID password, please follow the steps of this handout. So if what you entered to get in here was your user password, that is not your Apple ID password. It worked now? Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, I have to go to my laptop, I'm checking, okay. So I'm looking at the chats. So Marta, were you able to get in from what it says here, or you were not? Because you're muted, you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I was able to follow the browser and get into the iCloud, put my iCloud login, but I just need my password. So, but I understand the process now.
Okay, so if you used your user password, this is a warning. If you used your user password, that is not your Apple ID password. That's just whatever you put in your computer to open it every morning, right? Maybe it's a short one, for letters or numbers. That is not your Apple ID password. So be forewarned, if you put your user password in, you need to still go discover what's your Apple ID password, which is probably more complicated now. There's a chance you're using the same one, but I don't know even Apple lets you use the same one.
That's what I was just gonna ask. Can you duplicate?
Here's the thing, to open my computer, I put in 4 numbers. An Apple ID has to be one of those where they tell you that you need to have uppercase, lowercase, this many numbers of symbols and figures. And so it's not easy to type in one of those versus every time I open my computer, I don't want to be typing in a whole long thing. So I just go. So the user, the laptop or computer opener in the morning that you open up when you, it should be simple to type. Your Apple ID, and it's okay if you have a simple one to type, the computer lets you. But if you try to put in a very simple password like that for Apple ID, it'll come up with, nope, not good enough, nope, not good enough. So it's gonna be one of those that's more complicated, okay? So it's not gonna be the same one. Now, if every time your computer goes dark, you have to type in a complicated password, that's your user ID. Yeah, it must make me very hard for you to wanna even open up your computer. So you should put a simple user password in that only you know, but even simple to type versus a big old complicated password. All right, I'm seeing a lot of yeses. Pam, you say no. Did you put, you did or not?
I can't.
Okay, so let me go and help Pam.
Or it's just, it's on the screen where it's, they're not letting me do it. Did you put your finger? Oh, is that what they meant? See, I didn't know, I was trying, you know, you're right. I was trying to. Just keeps popping up. Yeah. You served her. No, I didn't,
Well, yeah, it's like.
Yeah,
it's
she
like
did.
all years ago,
Well, did
But I didn't go to get. Hotel Canal.
No.
B-52s with a bomb in Cambodia from Okinawa. Every day.
They cancel and try again, maybe try it.
They're so big, so wide.
Oh, I never got to those things screen with them.
And they would take off. And
Yeah,
I'll be able to see.
No, no, it's spicy.
Okay. All right. Sorry, again, another reminder from seeing things in class, someone had to put their finger on instead of it in their password, because if you have the computer that lets you put your finger, again, for better or for worse, that means you don't know your Apple ID password. Your computer remembers it. Thus, it says, well, if you are you, put your finger in here. I will type in your password for you. That's what it's doing. But if your laptop is gone, the new laptop won't remember, your finger won't let you in. So just in case you ever have a situation where you lose your laptop or your phone, you have to know your Apple ID. Okay.
No, that's my guess.
1 second, I'm reading the chat. So Justine says, I have both passwords. I want to mention that I don't use a password to start my computer. Maybe because I just restart it now and then, but otherwise leave it on all the time. So keep it a little bit lower, whisper when you're here in the class talking to each other, please. Okay, so here's the answer to Justine. Okay, if you look in the chat, she just wrote that she just doesn't use a password when she unlocks her computer. I'm not going to say it's good or bad to do that. I'm going to explain what's good and what's bad about it. If you have a heavy desktop that sits at home and never moves, right? Then maybe it's okay to not have a password to walk in, because it would have to be a guest or a thief that would have to come into your computer and try to get in, and there's no password, so they can access all your computer stuff, right? But as someone who stays with you overnight, or someone who is visiting, could then open up and get to your, files and bank account, and that's like negative. But what about the good version of this? I have had people say my grandkids visited and now everything is a disaster on my computer, right? Because they opened it up and lost things So all I'm saying is, if it's a thing that lives in your house only, well, that's the risk, right? Because anyone who comes into your house can get into your stuff because there's no password. But if you have a laptop that you carry with you to places, then, you're sitting at Starbucks, you pick up to go get a coffee, or you forget it, or someone comes by, they can also access all your stuff. Now, when we say all your stuff, is everything that's in there, good or bad. You might have been writing a novel for 3 years and boom, that file just disappeared if it's your grandkids, because it's not malicious. or it's malicious and they get into your bank account and all your good stuff. Or if you lose it, anyone can go in there and basically do the whole identity theft and whatnot. So I have a very simple thing that I type every time I open my computer. And then when it goes to sleep because I've stepped away and I'm going to the coffee or going to a bathroom, but I come back more than say 10 minutes have passed, it's blank again. When I wake it up, I type it in again, and I'm in. So it's just a step that takes no, you need to choose which password to use that is easy to use. If you have none of those situations, you never take it out of your house, you never have guests, or if you do, you don't worry that they might get into the wrong place, then it's fine not to have a password. It's your choice, right? But that's what that is. It's waking it up from sleep kind of password. So it should be a simple to type password. As much as if you have a phone, I highly recommend that you have to put in a little pin, a 4-number thing to type to get in. Or if you have a phone that lets you use your thumb, then no one else's thumb is your thumb, right? So that's what this user password is. Okay. How to set that up? Yeah. So if you go to your system preferences, let me share my system preferences. Then you go over here to your users and groups right here. Go to your users and groups and your system preferences. And I'm not sharing the right thing, am I? Here we go. To users and groups. Here we go. And then it says, and again, this is something I should be showing with my laptop. It says, do you need to put in a password? And since I can't demo this because this is anyway, go here. So frustrating. This is the school computer and it will not let me. When I click the lock to make changes, it asks for the administrator's password, which is someone that no one in this entire campus knows. Only the IT people know it and they will not give it to me. Because they don't want people changing the school computers, but I can't teach you how to do it. And my laptop, you don't know this, Justine, because you just signed in, but my laptop is too cold to work. I hope it's all that's happening because every time I open it, it dies. And I don't know, I've used it in the cold before. I think this is something much more serious, which means I seriously need a new laptop like tomorrow so that I can keep teaching you guys. So you go ahead and click the lock to make changes, right? Because you can, if you don't have a password, but guess what? If you don't have one, Justine, which would seem you don't, you probably don't have a click the lock.
No, I do. Like I said, I have both my passwords. But I
Got it.
just wanted to mention that I don't use one to, open.
Yeah,
up
got
the-
it. So then, but that's
So,
where
yeah, I
you
put in my
would
password
say,
one there. So do I
you
go
know
to
what,
where it
I
says
might
login?
need to ask you to share because I can't, I don't remember this this by
Oh, sure.
heart. So if you share your screen, I don't remember this settings by heart because I don't, once you set it, it's there. Some things I know by heart and I can just talk you through it, but I don't. So
Right,
share
okay,
your
let me
screen.
do that. Share screen.
Now you're gonna have to get a new laptop. I'm gonna guess.
No, I'm not, I can't afford to get it.
No, they're behind the times.
Okay. So,
So I put in my password. I
okay,
click the lock
so,
and then it asks for my
go
password. I put it
to-
in.
all right, allow user to reset password or use Apple ID. So see, guys, hold on. This, trying to replicate it, hold on. Give me a second. I need to,
You don't supposed to click allow user to reset the password using Apple ID on the bottom.
yeah, so hold on, that one there, if you click on that one, allows user to reset password using Apple ID. That is the opposite of what I'm talking about. That means you know your Apple ID and you have to reset your computer password, but it's the opposite of what I'm telling you to do. It's not the one. hold on. I'm having a blank on how to tell your laptop to use its password.
Yeah, it doesn't show.
Yeah,
It really looks like it's giving that option.
I'm Googling it because it's, how do I set a password to unlock my computer? But that's the PC. But that's the good way to, give me a second. Yeah, but that's to change the login, but how do I mean, you have a password. Go
Right, like
into,
I said,
go
I
into
have-
change password for a second to see if the choice is in there. Click on change password to see if it says use this password to unlock. No, it
Yeah,
doesn't.
just to change it.
Okay, say cancel, because there was a setting that was use
Is it login?
password to unlock. No, this is different. This is to hide an application when you log in with. I don't know this seems so logical and so easy. And how come the option is not there?
It's not the bottom, teacher, say login options. I should click on the little house.
No, that's the same as login. I will click on that, but maybe. Yeah. Okay, instead of
Accessibility options.
list of users name and password. So I think it's probably name and password then. Display login window as name and password. Click on that. Menu, fast user switching, show sleep, start, shut down, password hints. That's probably the choice, name and password. And you won't be able to tell until you restart your computer. And if that is, it isn't, then come back to list of users.
You don't want to see what is accessible options
No,
are?
no, not really, because list of users, if you have different users. I'm thrown by this question because there was such a easy click before, which was use password to unlock this computer. I'm looking for that choice.
Just out of
That's just what the login window is gonna do.
curious to
No,
see
it's
what this
not- no,
does when
it's
I
not
click on
that.
it.
No, that's
I
not
know,
it.
but I just want to see what it says.
Oh, got it, yeah.
Accessibility. Huh.
Okay, I wanna keep going.
All right, that's fine. I mean, I'm not particularly concerned about it, but just when you were talking about
Yeah.
security issues, I thought, well, maybe that's a good idea. But I mean, I do use my laptop at home most of the time. I don't go out very
Mhm.
much. And when I do, I certainly don't leave it,
Yeah.
out of my
So-
sight. So
Thanks
I
for
feel-
sharing your screen, and I'm sorry I couldn't,
Yeah.
that thing that we did change about name and password or list of users, that might do it, but I highly doubt it, because the
Okay.
question was, it should be more like use lock to open computer, something like
Yeah.
that.
So just to
I'm
make
gonna-
sure I understand, so the next time I open it up, if it does ask for the password, it's the admin password, not the Apple ID.
Yes.
Right,
yes.
okay.
Mhm.
All right, thank you.
How about if she click herself an admin?
What's that?
How
She-
about if she click herself? Because mine is different with now, it changed from the whatever is now Ventura. And it's just like, oh my
Get
God.
another one?
Yeah, I know. It's
do you mean?
becoming so hard to explain when there's so many systems that are different. But I've survived by teaching you using my laptop. And now my laptop today is not working. And
Oh, in the
as you
back?
can see, I am in a conundrum. So I'm gonna change
Oh,
tack.
okay.
Okay, so yay,
Well,
Martha,
you know,
you were able to change your password.
I know how to thread thing. Oh,
Cool.
shoot.
I'm gonna,
I'm sorry.
Jim, you're talking to someone. Can you mute yourself? There we go. By the way, yeah, so if you go down to the chat, you'll notice two things. Yay, Martha just changed her password. So now she knows, and now she sees all her stuff in the cloud. Yay. And then Suzanne mentioned, yes, you should be getting an email from Apple saying that someone is signing into your Apple ID. Because again, another security measure, if someone else for some reason managed to get in, maybe you disclosed your password or it's so simple that someone figured it out, then you're getting an email saying someone just signed in. And if it was not you, you should immediately go in and change your password to block that person out again.
Can I
Does that
say
make sense?
something? Yeah, can I say something funny that happened to me? I just
Yeah.
want to. When I did that, I was panicking because they sent me an email, but it
Mhm.
say UTC 6:14 p.m. And I'm like, but I'm till 11 o'clock in the morning. Somebody somewhere opened my account. You know, it's not in this time,
Mhm.
but they explained me that UTC is a different time, but I'm not sure. I still don't understand what that is.
Yeah, it's probably because
Greenwich Mean Time.
the email might go to someone around the entire world.
Yeah.
So they don't use the time you're in, because what if you're traveling in China and they say 6 p.m., then it doesn't match where you're living, right? So
Yeah.
they use the mean, is it the mean
When-
Greenwich
when I think
time?
They changed it to UTC. It used to be Greenwich Mean Time, GMT, but they changed it a few years ago.
So it used to be Greenwich Mean Time, but now I don't know
I
what,
think she said.
I think it's
UTC.
Universal Time something, central, it's something like Universal Time thing, but it's that mid time after which everyone grows an hour or takes away an hour. So they,
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, it said it for me too, but that's because I'm also using my iPhone and my computers. So I allowed it because I know that that's who I'm the same
yeah,
person.
so if you go to your emails, you should have gotten a message. If you got into your iCloud account, you should have received a message. If it's the first time you do it, that it's like, whoa, a browser that's never accessed your iCloud before has just accessed your iCloud. Now, if you've done it a few times and from the same browser, then it knows, okay, that's fine. It's you just did it and that you're just doing it again.
It means
Okay.
universal time coordinate.
Yeah, universal time coordinates. That's what it is. So if anyone used to remember the old way of calling it was Greenwich Mean Time, I think it was called. Now it's universal time coordinates. And it's that time that they send you, that if you take about how many hours away you are from it, that means that someone just did it. Anyway, yeah, I just got that email myself. I just got an email saying, hey, you just accessed your computer. 'Cause I don't normally access it from the Wake Center, right? So I have that message telling me that something, that someone got in. Okay, so guys, hopefully if you went into this, you found things that are yours. Now, I've always mentioned these top four. Oh, I'm not, let me share again my screen. I know that it's time to give you guys a break, but since we are still on the subject, I'll talk to you about much as I can about this, but since I can't demo it, I'm going to, after break, we're going to shift to something else. And I don't know, I'm gonna put my laptop in the sun to see if perchance maybe it is cold. I doubt it, but I'm gonna do that during break. But notice that it says pages, numbers, and keynote here, these three. Now, today I'm gonna teach you, or this class, I'm gonna teach you about all these other apps. I'm not gonna teach these three per se. I'm gonna just show you something quickly, but I used to teach the Microsoft Office for the Mac class. And in that one, I used to teach also pages, numbers, and keynote. Now that class has been shifted into a different version now. And so I don't teach that one anymore. We were talking about teaching again in the spring, but basically this is the Apple version of Word. The Apple version is called Pages. Numbers, the Apple version is called Numbers. It's the same as Excel. And those of you who know PowerPoint, Keynote is the Apple version of PowerPoint. So this is basically PowerPoint, Excel, and Word, Apple version. Okay. Now these three Apple applications are free to you. If you want to use them, you can download them from the app. You don't have to pay to own these. They're just Apple versions, and they work just as well. But they are a bit different. When you open them up, they are actually sleeker. It's trimmed. The stuff is hiding in different places. So if you know how to use Word, you would know how to use it. That's my alarm telling me, Guy, you're running over on break time. And I'm like, I know, shut up. I'm finishing. Thank you. I'm telling my phone to
to silence. So I'm sorry if you hear an alarm now and then it's reminding me that time is up. But these three apps, if you know how to use Word and you start using Pages, it'll be like you've always driven a tiny car and suddenly you're sitting in a pickup truck. It's like, but you can still get to the store, but you need to kind of relearn how to drive that machine,
I
right?
use Pages over and I prefer it. It's really.
Yeah, once you get accustomed to it, as usual, Apple is in a way sleeker and slimmer and trimmed in a way. But because of that, you might need to, if you know where to look for the stuff, you find it. But if you've been using Word and you're accustomed to finding the stuff up there, in Pages, you find it here or something like that, right? But by the way, for those of you who use Google, Google Docs is equivalent to Word and to Pages. Google Sheets is Excel from Google or numbers from Apple. So it's the same thing. It's Google Sheets, Google Word, Google Excel, and PowerPoint. And Keynote is Apple's PowerPoint, and Slides is Google's PowerPoint. So it's different companies making the same product. Okay, so if you use them, and Janine here was saying how she loves Pages and uses it all the time. Let me just finish the point that I'm trying to teach here. If you use any of these three, right, and save your file by default, meaning unless you change where you want it to save, it'll save into your cloud. So if you do use Pages and open Pages, all the files you've created in Pages are in the cloud. Anything using numbers are up here in the cloud. Anything put in Keynote is up here in the cloud. What's the advantage of that? That if you then do go travel to Afghanistan, not that we might go there right now. If you travel to South Africa, and you want to open that Word document, then here it is, right? If you want to open your PowerPoint presentation, here it is. But all your other computer files, if you have said yes, put them in the cloud, they will all live in the iCloud drive. So if I double click my iCloud drive, and I'm going to do that right now, then would you like to say this password? Let me just say not now, because this is my personal one. Then you should see here your desktop and your documents. And if you open those, and these are my personal ones, so I'm not going to do that right now. But if you open this folder, you should see your computer's documents. If you open your this folder, you should see your desktop documents in here. Okay. So if you put your stuff online, if you said yes to your stuff being online on the iCloud, this original question you had, Anna, of what's the iCloud drive, and this is the point, they're all called iCloud, but this one is the drive. It's the one that holds all your files. It's the place in the cloud that holds all your computer's files. Okay.
I'm looking at, looking at it.
But that is only if you have chosen to have your Mac documents and desktop on the cloud. Now, to that conversation, whether your stuff is on the cloud or not, is the entire gist of Mac Level 1 class. Like we spoke about that for hours on end, days and days on end. So if your stuff that you open your documents is not there, it's because it's living only in your computer. If you open your documents up here on the cloud and you see your documents, it's because your stuff is on both the cloud and your computer. Okay. If it's not there and you want it to be there, either come to Mac Level 1 next time I teach it, or review all of the recordings of the Mac Level 1 class that we just finished teaching, and then you will know how to put your computer stuff on the cloud. That's it. Those of you who took the class and have an additional question about that, please ask me. But again, I can't reteach the whole Mac Level 1 class. So when we come back from break, we're going to keep working with all the other apps, which are the whole point of today's class. Okay. So let's take our break. It's 11:15, so before 11. So be back by 11:57 a.m. So basically almost 12. I typed
10:57.
Yeah, it's only 10:43.
Oh,
right now.
shoot, 10:47. Back by 10:57. I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
Fiona,
Yes.
super quick question, because I have a family illness, so I'll be out next week or try to catch part of the class. Are you gonna go over backups and time machine?
Yes, in fact, when we come back from break, I was gonna talk to everyone about buying their backups because the last week, so not this week nor the next week, but the last week of class, the third week of
Okay.
class, that's when I'll be covering time machine.
Thank you.
Okay. So, yeah, good question. Hey, guys, see you in 15.
Thank you.
All right, I'm back, you guys, if you guys are back.
Did I sign in? Sign in, sorry.
I didn't sign anything.
Well, believe it or not,
Light is on. Yay.
it might have been too
Oh my
cold.
It is professional,
That's
right?
crazy.
Wow.
My laptop is
It is cold out.
responding.
Okay.
I've never had my laptop be too cold, but it's working now.
That's good.
Guys, during break, I went and put my laptop out in the sun. Which,
Very old school, right?
I don't know, it would, to the touch, it felt like it was freezing. And I put it in the sun, which normally the last thing you want to do to a computer is put it in the sun.
Yeah, who is the comedian?
Deanna, maybe it's like a cat.
You know what? I just thought like my
Oh,
little pet. I was
yeah.
gonna say that and then you're saying the exact word.
Uh-huh.
We're on the
It
same-
needed to warm up in the sun before it could function.
I mean, how many, you know,
Yeah.
I think maybe it's psychological. This computer knows that I feel like being curled up in the sun right now. And so it said, oh, I'm gonna do that. Go put me in the sun. Who knows? But I'm in.
Progress.
So crazy is that my sound, I am now on my laptop and I
Can
can show you
Siri
something.
help?
What's that?
Can Siri helps? Ask for help for Siri. Maybe she's magic.
No, isn't it?
But you're doing a great job, teacher.
Crazy is that.
With the limitation, it's a good job.
All right. So, yeah, no, I'm amazed. I kept saying I'll put it in the sun, but I only had this much hope that it would work and it worked. So I'm signing in. So give me a sec. while I finish. It's working. It's working. Okay, now we discovered that when if your computer doesn't work, what you need to do is you need to put it in the sun.
No way. You did put it on the sun?
Yeah, that's all I did during break. I went and sat at
Oh
the
my
bench.
God. I think it was
There's
easy.
a stone bench here and the laptop was in the sun and that's all I did to it. It felt weird. I
old
touched it and
school.
it felt frozen. It felt like I would put my fingers on it. It felt like I was touching something really, really cold and it's working. So it worked. I truly put it in the sun. That's all I did to it. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, so hopefully by now you're all back listening to this silly talk. Because it's silly, but it worked. So I don't know how silly it is, but here we are. And I did forget to bring my coffee with me, which is what I usually do during break. So I was sitting in the sun, not shivering, and thinking about my coffee in the classroom and going, nope, I gotta leave this thing in the sun.
A good idea to sit in the sun. I took you up on that idea.
You did. Oh, I see you in the sun. Yeah. Okay, guys. So, good. That's really good because now I'm going to share with you guys my preferences from my laptop. Because in my laptop, the preferences make more sense. So see here that I was saying that you could see my SBCC. Oh, hold on. For people who are here at school, I need to put this over there. Or you could look on your screen. Oh, did Pam have to go? No, she left her glass. Okay. Because this
No,
is a
their
question she had.
laptops are
They're
still
here, yeah, their computers are here. Okay. Maybe they're also sitting in the sun. I'm telling you guys, this classroom today feels, if I ever wanted to tempt you guys to come back today, this is not the way to tempt you. Because, yeah, so anyway, it's cold in here today. And, but if I go over here to my iCloud, right, in here and see my iCloud now turned on, right? If I see that turned on in here, then all of these things that you see here, apps on this Mac are using iCloud. Do you read that line? Apps on this Mac are using the iCloud. That means that all of these guys are being sent, if I use these apps in my computer, all that stuff is sitting in the cloud. All right. So if I do use these apps, and they're in the cloud, I should find if this check is turned on, and be careful, this is where I always warn people. If it's not turned on, don't turn it on. None of these things, okay? If it should be changed willy-nilly right now. But the most important one not to change willy-nilly are these two. Let me explain. Go ahead and turn the mail on if you want or not, but that doesn't mean you'll see it. I'll explain that in a minute. Many of you have the mail turned off. That depends on how you set it up from the very beginning. If you turn it on, it's going to ask you, tell me, it's probably telling you to sign into some stuff. I'm talking to Jenny anyway. But what this means is that if I make an appointment, this is my computer, right? If I make an appointment in my calendar, that appointment is also sitting in that iCloud.com that I told you guys to access. That calendar there in the iCloud.com holds that same appointment, right? And then, and this is when it becomes interesting. And I'm going to change my share now to my phone. So now bring out your phones. Okay. So then if you then are in your phone settings, again, you go and you open your settings and you click in up there to the name. And you go to see what's in the cloud. Now we're in the same spot. And anything that is here, these are the things that are going to be in the cloud. So again, if your photos are turned on, that would be the equivalent of the check mark. If you see iCloud Drive and it's turned on, if you see contacts, here it says iCloud Mail. And the other one, it only said the word mail. Here it specifies iCloud Mail, contacts, calendars, reminders. So if you wrote a calendar appointment to go to lunch on your computer, that went up to the cloud and then it came into your phone. Automatically, as long as you have a Wi-Fi connection, it's called push. You don't sync these things. The computer pushes them around. So that same calendar will now, appointment will appear on your calendar on your phone. If you met someone on the street and I met Janine walking down the street and she goes, you know what? I changed my phone number. I'm gonna go, oh, or I moved, I changed my address. I go, oh, I open up my phone contacts. I put in her new address. If someone at home could open my computer, her new address is now at home. Why? Because it went up to the cloud and into my computer. As long as this is also turned on. In this case, I have something turned off. So if something is turned off, either in your computer or in your phone, it's not that it doesn't work on this phone. It's just that whatever's on this phone stays on this phone and doesn't go to the cloud. So now I'm going to stop my share again and open again the share that I had before. If on my computer. Okay, and now you guys have your phone and in front of you. If on my computer over here, I do not have, say, my contacts turned on, right? Turned on for now means check mark. For those of you in Ventura, it looks just like the phone with a little slider. If this is on and I make an appointment or I change, say, Janine's address here, it'll go to the cloud, it'll go to my phone. But if this is off, my contacts on my computer will still work, but they will only live in my computer. They will not go up to the cloud. So I can fill my Mac with contacts, but then by not going to the cloud, if my computer dies, it's like you lost your contacts phone book. They go with your computer. But if this is on, and it goes to the cloud, then if your computer dies, all that information is up in the cloud, waiting for you to buy a new computer, connect your Apple ID, and then all this stuff comes back into your new computer. Does that make sense, you guys?
Good.
That's what this is. Now, whether it transfers to the phone or not depends on whether on the phone you have your stuff. And so now I'm going to share again my phone. And this is why this is, I needed to have both my computer and my phone working because I need to go back and forth and back and forth. Now what I'm doing is the content. But if on your phone, the contacts are on and the calendars are on right here, then not only does this stuff go from the computer to the cloud, but it also goes from the cloud to the phone. And if I write something new in the calendar, I went to the dentist and they say, come back in 6 months. And I'm at with my phone, not with my computer. And I put in an appointment for May. I'm guessing that, I don't know if that's 6 months, but whatever. I have a computer appointment for May for the dentist. Then I put it on my phone. And as long as this is turned on, like this, green, it goes to the cloud. And if it goes to the cloud and I lose my phone, when I buy a new phone and I put in my Apple ID, I have all my contacts and my calendars again on my phone. And this information transfers all the way back to my computer. So let me now share again this little drawing where as long as the sliders are the same ones on your computer as on your phone, then all the information is flowing through all your devices. But you don't have to want that. You can do whatever you want. And that's why the sliders are there. You can go, no, I don't want my contacts to move up to the cloud. Fine, then don't. The problem is only going to happen when you are at your doctor's appointment and you want to make an appointment and you open up your calendar and you go, sure, I can be there May at 3 p.m. But in your computer, you actually had at May at 3 p.m. lunch with someone. They're not talking to each other. So your calendars are not the same calendar, right? So you're not seeing that you're actually busy on May at 3 p.m. If the cloud slider is checked on both your phone and your computer, you open your phone and you go, oh no, maybe I have something, I can come at 5 p.m., right? That's why you want things to sync so that, you know, they happen. Or like I said, I meet Janine on the street, she changed her address, I put it on the phone. And then when I'm at home, I go, oh, let me go over to Janine's house. I pull up my computer and I go to the wrong house because they didn't talk. So that's the reason to keep them connected so that your information is the same all around. Because again, the only negative to not having the sliders turned on is that there's two negatives. The real negatives of not having your sliders turned on is A, if you lose the device, anything that was left only in the device, be it laptop or phone, stays only in the device. So if this phone drops into a puddle tomorrow, well, maybe this one is already waterproof. I don't know, because the newer they make them, the more indestructible they are. But say that I drop it, I'm out whale watching and I drop it into the ocean. You know, it might be waterproof, but I'm not about to go retrieve it from the ocean. Then that address that Janine gave me, if it lived only in my phone, it's gone and lost forever. It didn't go up to the cloud. So I keep giving you these silly examples, but that's the whole point. The cloud is kind of the nexus that cannot disappear. Your devices disappear, change, update. You buy a new one. You have an old computer, you buy a new one. Good. Put in your Apple ID, all that stuff that was in the cloud now comes back to your computer. But let me be clear, this stuff, whatever is here under this thing that says iCloud or in the system preferences, this is the stuff that lives in the cloud. There's other stuff that's not here that you have in your computer. Maybe you have a Quicken program that you use to check your financials. And do you see Quicken here? Because I don't. It's not part of the cloud. Does that make sense? So it needs to be part of these apps in the cloud for it to be saved in the cloud. So your only solution to having that Quicken files is if in the iCloud drive, now I'm going back to, going back to the question that Anna asked at the beginning, if in the iCloud drive, if you have asked, let me stop my share and share from here now. Okay, this is the go back and forth share game. Here we go. If in this iCloud drive, which is on, if you have gone to the options, again, this is everything we did in Mac level 1. So now I'm just doing it as a quick reminder. If in Mac level 1, when you go to the options, if you said yes to desktop and documents. If this is turned on, then your desktop and documents have all also moved up to the cloud. So when I told you guys during Mac level 1, clean up your computers, clean up your downloads, put all the stuff that you want in your documents folder. Put everything in your documents folder. It's because also anything that's in the downloads does not go to the cloud, but anything that's in the documents or the desktop does go up to the cloud. So now you lose your computer, you lose your phone. Then even if that was a Quicken file or a Photoshop file, as long as it was in your documents folder, it's up in the cloud.
Wow.
Okay? As long as it's in your, as long as this is turned on, if this is turned off, then anything that's in your documents or desktops in this computer lives in this computer and nowhere else. If it lives nowhere else and your computer dies, those files disappear.
And that's under, like, I don't know where this
Yeah,
screen is. I
so-
think my screens look different.
Okay, so watch, I'm showing you again. Look at my,
Okay, it's in preference. Okay.
no, it's not, it's in system preferences.
Okay.
You go into your cloud, which is up here, Apple ID,
Apple ID.
and then all of these things that are turned on
Okay, thank
are in the cloud. And as long as they're turned on to my phone, they're on my phone. But the iCloud Drive in particular, you need to hit the options right there. And then that's the check mark. If it's on, that means your stuff is in the cloud. If it's off, that means that your stuff that's in your computer is only in your computer. Now, be careful. If you do turn it on, you need enough space up in the cloud. And that's where we talked about again, level 1 class, where we talked about how much you need to pay, maybe 99 cents a month to have more space. If it still fills up, then you need to pay maybe $2.99 a month, or was it $1.99 a month? I think it's to get much more space. If that fills up, you go up to $9.99 a month. I doubt anyone has filled that one up because that's humongous, right? So you basically, all this stuff has gone up to the cloud and it holds your material. I do have a plan B for people who don't want to turn this on though, so don't assume you need to turn it on. But yeah, Joseph?
Yeah, the Google Drive, is pipeline Google gives you unlimited storage.
Only the school pipeline gives you unlimited. The pipeline Google account, as long as you're a student, gives you unlimited. If you have a personal Gmail drive, I think it's limited to 15 gigabytes or something like that. But the pipeline Google account drive is unlimited as long as you're a school student and use that one. But in all honesty to the rules, it should only have school files. That doesn't mean that you can't put your stuff in there, but if the school for any reason decides to not let you have the account, misbehavior, or whatever reason, you lose your stuff if they disconnect it, if you put it there, because it's really a school account, right? And so it's not depending on you to cancel it or not. And plan B, the next reason, and this is just going back to the comment that Joseph said, is that the pipeline Google account, Google Drive is unlimited. Yes, but because it's a school account, if there's ever any need to investigate the school because someone's hacking and stuff like that, the FBI, all those people, the police, they're allowed to go into school accounts and look at your stuff, which if you have nothing to hide, who cares? But if you do have something to hide, people are allowed to go into school accounts versus they can't get into your personal account without warrants and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just giving you the disclaimers, right? Of why you might or not want to put certain things in the school account. All right.
When you buy the computer, Diana, is there a default, is everything checked? Or
They're
do you have to
preset.
personally? Mine are preset.
I'm seeing a lot of hands up, so I want to answer to the hands that are up, and it's easy to see you guys here in person who are asking me, but I want to be honor the fact that hands are up from the people on Zoom. So hold on. Anna, is that a new hand or is that the hand from before?
It's a new hand. What happened if, now you say that they're all connected to the iCloud, but what happened if you have an iPad that you are
Same-
not?
Same with the iPad. So I keep showing only these two for simplicity's sake. But in the iPad, same thing, open the system settings, and in the iPad, you will see exactly the same things. And if you have the contacts turned on in the iPad, then Your iPad has the same contacts that your phone and that your computer has. So it just all becomes one. If you have a smartwatch and you connect it with your Apple ID, your watch, you can also open your contacts from your smartwatch. So anything that has your Apple ID, as long as your settings here are set up to connect, now the smartwatch is limited in that you can't enter things, right? But you can see the contacts that you have in your computer and your phone. I mean, I don't know, maybe the newest smartwatch, you can even enter stuff in. I don't even quote me on that one because I don't know. I don't really have a new smartwatch to know. But maybe at some point you'll be able to access your information and use it. Maybe now even the newest, someone has a new smartwatch, tell me if you can insert like an address in there. I don't know.
An Apple?
Oh, okay, that's an Apple smartwatch. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you look at your apps there, you should see your contacts. If you open up your contacts, you can probably see phone numbers. I don't know. I don't know if it's a newer one or an older one. I had an older one in mine.
This has the contact in my phone, in my.
Yeah. So if you open it up, you can probably look up at your contacts. Why? Because the Apple ID is that the Apple space in the cloud for your stuff is sending it to all the devices that have your Apple ID. Right? If you were to turn this phone off and through the software, say sign out and put in Janine's Apple ID, it would have Janine's contacts. If you sign out on your watch and put in Rod's Apple ID, it would have Rod's contacts. It's all about that Apple ID because all the information that's in the cloud gets sent to whatever device that has your Apple ID. Got it? All right, Mary, your hand is up.
Thank you. Regarding some of these apps that you're saving to the cloud, is it saving the historical data or is it saving your settings? For example, with something like the weather or the stock widget. And I'm just asking because I'm trying to make the hard decision of not storing everything because I've maxed out some of my storage.
Okay, so it will store anything that your check mark is on, right? But let me say the only one that really occupies space is your photos.
Okay.
The rest of the stuff doesn't take up that much space.
Okay.
Unless if you are, and I'm going to go to the cloud drive, unless you are said yes to your desktop and documents, then if you have a lot of if you filled your hard drive with desktop and documents that are really big, that might occupy a lot of space too. But again, the only things that take up a ton of space, I repeat, is photos, and mainly the biggest culprit is videos. So just suddenly turning off weather will make zero difference, right? On the space. It'll like the question she said, if I turn some of these off because I'm running out of space, what difference will it make? These are apps and you can turn them all off and it'll make basically zero difference. This one will make some difference if your computer has a lot of stuff. So say that your computer has 200 gigabytes worth of stuff, those 200 gigabytes on your of documents will be up on the cloud, right? But, and I'm going to say done to that, 99% of people where they have a ton of stuff is in their photos. So the next session, I will be teaching the iLife class, the one that's the teach photos and that, and then I'll tell you what the options are around how to maximize space with your photos and stuff like that. But the best thing I can tell you to do now is forget turning these things on and off. The amount of space the calendars take is minimal because it's just data. It's little drops of data that say go to lunch. It's not a big amount of space at all. But videos and photos are huge files. In comparison, you can have, 20,000 appointments might be occupying the same space as one photo, right? I mean, really, the differences are incredible. And then 20,000 photos occupy the space of one video. If the video is a 10-minute video, that thing just filled up your computer, it just filled up your phone, it filled up your cloud. So you have to be careful with videos. Those files are humongous. I don't know if anyone knows anything about filming video, but if you film a video, 1 second worth of video is it could be like 27 photos equivalency or up to 64 photos equivalency, depending on the high quality or not of your video. So imagine 1 second, just 1 second of your video is equivalent to have 64 photos in there. Depends on the quality of your video, right? But it can be huge. So 1 second is nothing. And those of you who sit there videoing a performance for 3 minutes, whoa, you just filled up your computer, your phone, and your cloud with 1 3-minute video equivalent to maybe 1,000 photos, right? So anyway, just be very careful with your videos. If you want to make space, go into your Photos app and get rid of all those miscellaneous videos that you don't need. And when you take my photos class, I'll show you how to trim those videos down to just the part that matters, because of those 3 minutes, maybe really you only need 25 seconds to see the important stuff, right? Yeah.
If you
Just-
delete your video, it goes into the delete file, you have to double delete or not, the next message.
Yeah, that's part of the app. No, it doesn't go into the trash. It deletes from the video. It's not double delete. But that's only if you know what so don't ask me about that answer. He knows what I'm answering. The rest of you guys, if you don't know what I'm answering, don't ask me. It's a whole nother. Suzanne, your question next. Sometimes I need to, I want to answer you because it's a quick answer, but explaining it is too hard. All right, Suzanne.
Yeah, I have my iCloud mail unchecked. But when I went into my iCloud Drive, I have the mail app checked. So
Yeah.
what have I done? What's
Well,
happened?
when you go into your iCloud.com, which you just went into,
Yeah.
and you open up your mail, do you, let me change share. Stop my share. Let me actually it's easier if I stay in one computer. So I'm going to go to iCloud.com on this computer, because otherwise I'm going crazy going to 20 different computers. So give me a second. Now in my computer that's been nicely warmed up by the sun, and it feels.
Did it work?
Oh, you guys weren't here. It worked. Yes, that's why I continued teaching, because yeah, you were not in the room. I actually got in, yeah.
I have to do it every morning with my old iPad. I'll put it on the heating pad.
I have never, ever had to do this. So you saying that makes me feel that I wasn't crazy when I said I need to put it in the sun. And now what Linda's saying here, you guys, that she has to put her old iPad on her heater in the morning to get it to start working. I had never experienced that, so I thought I was kind of crazy by even saying what I said. It was instinct that it felt cold. And Linda says, yeah, that's what she does. And it
Maybe
worked.
we should tell Apple to build an internal heater.
Usually what happens with computers is they get too hot, right?
Yeah.
Usually you have to be careful to let air through in the bottom. Like if you're using your laptop on top of your bed on a blanket, the air doesn't get in and then it heats up. So I had never heard that I had to warm up my computer ever, but I am so glad, because I thought my computer was dying. So I'm so happy. So now whenever somebody says their computer's not working, I'm gonna go, have you thought of warming it up? I added something to my repertoire.
Teacher?
So
Teacher?
here we go. This is the answer to Suzanne's question, because while I was talking, I was opening up my cloud. So over here, if I open up my mail and double click on it, do I see my mail? If you see your mail, then you are seeing an Apple mail. If you don't see your mail, when you open up in the iCloud.com, then that means that the mail that you are, let me change my share to 2 different. Now I can share 2 pages because I'm on the same computer, so this is better. So over here, see, my Apple ID is warning me, your Apple ID was used to sign in. Your Apple ID was used to sign in, because I send in from 3 different computers trying to get through to you guys. So it's warning me that I did it in September when I was teaching. I did it again from another computer, and I just did it today. So this is my Apple mail. Now, here's the problem that gets slightly complicated, which is this mail, this one, does not show all your mails. It only shows the mail that's part of your Apple ID. So for some of you guys, it is the email that you use. In this case, it is related to your Apple ID. When I said originally it wasn't related, but if it is the email that you actually use constantly, that's considered your Apple ID mail. But for some of you guys, you open it up and go, no, it's not showing me anything, or what it's showing me is old stuff. This is an email that I haven't used in in 5 years. It's because it's not your current mail. So before we spend too much more time on this, tell me, go to the polls and go and tell me, how many of you guys, when you went to your, to your iCloud.com mail, this one, not anything else, iCloud.com, the one that you all said you had access, when you double click on it, what do you see? If you see current mail, like, yeah, this is my current email, I can see it's what I got today, then can you please give me a green check mark? If what you see is not your current email and you're like, what is this? Or you get nothing, then give me a no. Okay,
Deanna,
a no or a yes. Someone spoke up, who spoke
yeah,
up?
Deanna, it's Suzanne again. When I click on mine, it says iCloud email needed. To use iCloud Mail, create a new email address by turning on mail in your iCloud settings.
Yeah. So do you see, I don't know, guys, you can see the group, but most of you guys are saying no. And that's what I expected. Most of you guys are saying no. I'm seeing 2 or 3 people who are saying yes. And I myself say yes, because as a teacher, I have put my school's iCloud email in here. And so if you might notice, I only have something today, something in September, because I only use this when I teach something again in July, because whenever I teach this class, here's May. So it doesn't look like an email that's very much in use, is it? Because it's my school accounts email. Every time I teach this class, I get an email in it. But what's happening is that for better or for worse, I'm going to back out. All of the rest of these apps, yes, if you open your contacts and you use your Apple contacts on your computer or your phone, you will find them there. But what if you've been using your Gmail on your phone to see your mails? Like you've downloaded the Gmail app, then the Gmail is another company. It's not part of the cloud, right? What if you've been using a third-party calendar? Maybe some of you, my husband has an iPhone, but because at work they used to use only their iCloud account, he's become accustomed to use their Gmail account for work. He's become accustomed to using the Google Calendar and the Google Mail and the Google Contacts and the Google everything. So it's not a problem necessarily. It's just not here in the Apple iCloud. If he goes into his Google Cloud, so to say, he has his contacts and his email in there. But if you access your Apple Cloud, you will only have the things that you use when you use your Apple devices. So you won't find an email that's not the iCloud email. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah. No.
So I will teach you how to use your Apple apps here so that you can have all this thing working across all your devices. But if you choose instead to use an email that is not your Apple email, you will have to go to your Gmail cloud. It's a different spot in the cloud and put in that password to see that. Does that make sense? In the cloud, up here in the cloud. On your phone, on the other hand, in the Mail app, you can choose to see your Gmail, your Yahoo, your all that kind of stuff. I'll teach you on your phone and on your computer how to see all your apps in the Mail app. But the one space that remains closed only to Apple stuff is the actual iCloud.com cloud. That one is the place where all your info that's Apple gets retained and held, and it does not bring in information from other apps. Okay. So this email right here is the only one that restricts itself once it's in the cloud to show me only cloud emails. So in this case, this is my cloud email, and it's an email that's this one, sbcc001@icloud.com. It's an actual iCloud email. But if you have an email like a .me or .mac.com or me.com, you can also see them here because those are Apple email addresses. and thus they save themselves up into the cloud. Okay. Now, the other reason, even if you have a me.com or a mac.com, if you do not have this turned on, then that won't go into the cloud anyway. But mine is turned on, right? So any email that I get, I can see on my computer and my phone. And if I go to iCloud.com, I can see mail up there as well. Okay, so those are the 3 places I can pick up my email. Now, I'm going to spend much more time talking about email. That's part of this class. So if you don't have iCloud.com or me.com or mac.com, which are the possible emails addresses given to you by Mac, by the Apple company, if that's not the the emails that you use, then how else do we see all those other emails on your devices? So I'll be teaching you that as part of this class. So you'll be keep working with that next week, following week, et cetera, et cetera. Of those of you who said no, just call it out. What kind of emails do you have? Gmails, Hotmail, or write it in the chat more than calling it out, because it's hard to hear 3 people talking at the same time. What kind of emails do you have? So Justine right there saying Gmail, Cox and Gmail, email. I'm just looking at the chat, right? People are writing in the chat. Okay. Again, Gmail. So most of us have Gmail accounts, right? I mean, Google is, if you think Apple is big in the world of computers, or Microsoft is big or whatever, Google, it's kind of like the owner of the internet, and everyone assumes that Google, Gmail is the email to use and stuff like that. Okay, so Justine doesn't use Apple Mail, calendar, contact, etc. So she probably live inside of the Google universe. Not a good or a bad thing. You can use Apple Mail, calendar, contacts on your computers and on your phone just as fine to pick up Gmail things. Just in the cloud here, what I'm showing you right now is the only place that you won't see them. Right here. Okay, just in this part in the cloud. As I said, on your phone, you can use the mail app to look at your Gmail, your Cox, your Outlook, all that kind of stuff, right? You can get your calendars from Gmail, you can everything in the computer and on your phone. But on the cloud, it's my little reserved space for only cloud stuff, right? So if you open up here and don't see your mail when you're in China and you want to pick up your email, you would have to go to gmail.com and open up your Gmail to see your mail. But all the stuff that's in your computer, other than that, you can see from here. Okay. Yeah.
Deanna, it's Suzanne again. Can I ask a follow-up then to my question? Then why under iCloud Drive, if I have the mail.app checked, what does that mean? Because I open up iCloud Drive and I only see my desktop and documents, as you told us before. So what does it matter that I have that checked or not checked?
Well, are you talking over here or here, iCloud Drive?
The options under iCloud Drive, and I do have the mail.
What this means is that if this is on and you have an Apple email, then those mails themselves, that it's like internal files of mail, they get saved to the cloud as well.
Okay.
So attachments, things that might be in your mail also. This is all about files, the iCloud Drive. And so you will have files that as part of your email that they'll be saved.
Okay.
That's the second place where you check mail. This just means that your mail can be sent up to the cloud and coordinated with the stuff that's on your phone. That's what this one means.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Hold on, Anna, I see your hands are up, but Rod's hand was up earlier, even though I see that his hand in the computer seems later. It's just that he later figured out he had to raise it online, but his hand has been up in real life for a while. So Rod?
Question, your opinion. Every time I've watched the WWDC, the Apple show about the new equipment coming out.
Yeah.
They make a big point and they show graphs on how Safari is now much faster and superior to the other service.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'm just curious about, with your extensive knowledge,
Yeah.
do you use Safari or do you not, and why?
Yeah, it's a great question. And yes, I agree. And yes, I do. So I don't know if you guys, can you guys at home hear the questions of people?
No,
in the
no,
last-
it's you're clear.
Okay, so
Hold on.
Rod is asking, he says that when he goes to see, once a year or once, a few times a year, depending, Apple does its big presentation of his new products and stuff like that, right? So he watches them. Oh, let me move this up so you can see my face on my computer. So he watches those and, if you watch those, if you ever have, or if you read about things, what he relayed is that Apple shows how Safari is now much better, much faster, much safer and all of that than the rest of the browsers. Now, let me clarify what I mean by browsers. Safari is a browser type of application where you access the internet. That's what a browser is. So Chrome is the Google brand of browser, not Google. Google is a company, like Apple is a company, right? But Apple makes iPhones, Apple makes applications. Apple, Google are companies. So the browser that Apple makes is called Safari. The browser that Google makes is called Chrome. There's another company called Mozilla, and they make a browser called Firefox. So there's a company called Microsoft. They make a browser called Edge. My PC users now use Edge to get to the browser. So these are just like you find, you want jeans, but you can find Levi's, I'm doing myself here, Guess, Wrangler. They're just different brands of jeanish material that you put on your legs to cover your legs. That's just what it is. So browsers are just that. So Safari is Apple's browser. Good. Now, for Safari, for Mac users, yes, is much faster and better and optimized to work better than Chrome, because Chrome is optimized to work better on PCs, on Windows computers. Okay. So if you have used Chrome all your life, can you download and use it on the Mac? Of course you can. But is it optimized for the Mac? No, Safari is optimized for the Mac. So it is much faster. It uses less of your computer's resources. And beyond all of that, what really matters to me, it is really careful about your privacy. Apple makes money from selling you iPhones, from selling you computers. It doesn't make money from its Safari. But Google makes money from its software. Well, now it's selling phones too and stuff like that. But you don't talk about the Google phone as the biggest money maker for Google. The thing that Google is known for is for its search engine and for its browser, right? And why does it make money? Because anything you do on Chrome gets sold to marketers who then pay them money to say, these people go and buy shoes. And so every time you go and use Chrome, you'll see ads for shoes to hope marketers bought your information and they show you ads for shoes. And that's how Google makes money from what you do online, right? Safari doesn't make money from what you do online. I mean, Apple, their main source of money isn't what you do online. Google's main source of money is what you do online. They sell information. Okay, that's what Google does. So, of course, if you use Chrome, anything you do on Chrome gets told to Google, who then parses that information and sells it to marketers. That's it. Safari, on the other hand, and Firefox, I need to say, is very good about your privacy. Firefox allows you to be more private. So does Safari right now. It used to be Firefox was more than Safari. Now Apple, let's say 3 years ago, jumped on the privacy bandwagon and now is the most careful about your privacy. I'm gonna say 4 years ago, it became the forefront. And now it is the most private, the most careful of your privacy, which for better or for worse is why every time you do anything on the Mac, you're now being asked, are you sure you want to do this? Are you careful? Are you whatever? So people are bugged by that, but it's because they're letting you know that if you go to the site, that person or not is going to be, taking your information. So here on Safari, I just did a start page. I haven't used this browser as much because this laptop, I haven't used the browser. And so notice in my start page of my browser, it says, in the last 7 days, Safari has prevented one tracker from profiling you. Now, just so you know, I have not opened this browser in the last 7 days. I just opened it today. So that just caught one. But if I go to my start page on my school computer that I've been using to teach you, let me stop this share and open this share. This is my browser from my computer. And notice that it says in the last 7 days, Safari has prevented 103 trackers from profiling you and hidden your IP address from known trackers. Every time you go to a website, that website is getting your information. And getting that information, it doesn't know who you are. It doesn't know that you, Janine, who is a woman who lives in Santa Barbara, who is a certain age and who likes the color green. But it knows that someone from that computer that is in Santa Barbara is looking at whatever. And if you have given information to any of those places about your age, or maybe it doesn't know that at this point who's using the computer, they don't know. But if you're using Facebook and Facebook, you've told that you're a woman and you're 25 years old and that you live in a certain place, then Google knows it too. Like everyone begins to know, and then they go, okay, people. They start adding up all the information and they go, people who live in Santa Barbara and who are women and who are 25 years of age seem to like information about poodles. So suddenly marketers are interested in reaching all these 25-year-old women in Santa Barbara who are checking constantly websites about poodles, right? And I'm throwing out silly ideas, but you know what I'm trying to say? They don't know who's handling your phone, but they profile you because of all the other information you've given the internet. And Google collects all of that and then knows that, yes, it is this person, not this person individually. Again, they don't sell information about Janine and Rod and Jeanette. They sell information about women of a certain age, living in a certain demographic, in a certain place, like this kind of stuff, because they can see that as an aggregate. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So anyway, Firefox is, Justine is saying that it's been crashing with no warning. Have you updated it? I mean, I use Firefox all the time and
Yeah, I have the most current version, and it's about 6 months or a year. I don't know, for a chunk of time now. It works fine, except that, like I said, about a couple times a week, it just boop, crashes. And then of course, when I open it again, everything loads again really quickly and it's like back up within about a minute. But it's just sort of a mystery. It's like, why does it do that?
I really don't know. And it might, I mean, when apps start to malfunction, it might be that your computer's too full or too slow or getting older, like things like that might be part of it. I don't know right now what the reason might be. Or it might be that you need to uninstall the app and reinstall it. There might be something wrong with the app. I really don't know. Or try to get on to some customer support with the Mozilla company that makes Firefox and see. Sometimes that's the thing about upgrading, and I'm not saying that you just upgrade it. Sometimes when you upgrade to a new OS, for example, those of you upgraded to Ventura, you might find that certain things work a little bit worse. That's because you need to wait until Mozilla, and I'm guessing here, like until Firefox maybe throws its up. Okay, now that you have Ventura, now I need to update my Mozilla to work well with Ventura and that kind of stuff, right? Now I don't say that that's your case because I don't know if you've upgraded or not, but just warning, because some people are beginning to upgrade. Other things might not upgrade for another month or two because they have to get their engineers up to speed to get their things upgraded, and then they start working smoothly again. So again, since it's not an Apple mail, if it's not an Apple thing, if you call Apple to tell them my Firefox is not working, they're going to go, yeah, sure, call Firefox, lady. But on the other hand, they might say, oh, we've heard that Firefox for the new version isn't working, and now this is the workaround, right? So they might have that answer for you, or it might be a Firefox issue. But so you always want to, if something consistently doesn't work, and restarting your computer, by the way, the first thing you should always do is restart your computer. Some people never restart it. when apps start working, that, you know, people would be millionaire, all these texts that come out to your house and charge you, they'd be millionaires, and the first thing they do is they restart your computer, always. If you call Apple to get help and something's not working, the first thing they tell you to do is restart your computer. Is this problem still occurring? Then they start helping you, right? Because many times restarting your computer solves a lot of problem. Now, that said, I don't recommend people stop their computers, restart their computers all the time, just when they're having problems. So anyway, that's my long answer as to Firefox, because it wasn't only about Firefox, but for everyone. Anything that stops working or crashing consistently, like this is something that happens a lot, then it's actually, there's an issue. If it happens once, well, maybe you overloaded it, who knows? But if it consistently happens, a couple times a week, like she's writing, then that is an issue. So the easiest thing is to restart your computer, then delete that app and reinstall it. It's free after all. And then if it still is happening, then contact tech support. Okay. All right. Let me, I had skipped Anna. I do want to move on to a couple of new material. So, but let me see, Anna, what's the question?
A quick question. When you search and on the phone and the app and the computer, you have two ways, is privacy window and new window, tab, empty tab. Now, I usually do private window, but I'm not sure why.
So
what is the difference between the two?
Yeah,
What
I
is
was actually going to keep explaining a little bit the Safari right now, so that does segue nicely into what I'm going to explain next. So let me share my screen, because again, I'm trying to show you guys in part the cloud, and the first app I began to explain to you guys in this class was Safari that I started last week, and I'm going to move on to mail and a bunch of other stuff, but I just want to say one more thing before I'm going to make this a bit smaller so it's easier when I share it to you guys for it to show well. I want to say something else before I continue, because I said something very important that might get misinterpreted, not misinterpreted, but confused. Let me share my, for a second ago, I told you guys that if you have your iCloud Drive and the options turn on with this check mark, that all your files go up to the cloud. Thus, if your computer dies, when you put in your Apple ID, your computer fills up with all your files again. Remember that? Okay. I said that there's a workaround. And for those of you guys who don't have that option turned on, and again, hearkening back to my class from that I taught last session, which is all of you who were in the file management, right? So again, if you didn't take that class, just listen to this and then watch recordings. But if you took it, you understand that if your iCloud holds your documents and your desktop, right? These things are the ones that I'm mentioning will go up into the cloud and be there if you put in your Apple ID and you install another computer. But for those of you whose documents are not in the cloud and they show up here, and then when you go and click on your documents, and now I'm going to change my screen, and this is just review, so I will not do it justice for people who didn't do the class, but for those of you who did the class, if on the other hand, you click on your documents and looking at the path, you see that they are in your computer instead of in the cloud like this, then this stuff is at danger of dying if your computer dies, because it's not up in the cloud, right? Does that make sense? Again, you need to have taken that class to completely understand what I'm saying, but basically, if that check mark that I just showed you is not on, what that means is that your documents that you have in your documents folder are not in the cloud, or they're not part of the cloud. They're part of your Mac, but they're not in the cloud, right? So if your computer dies, where do they go?
in the
I don't
trash?
know. Is there a computer heaven and file hell? Who knows? They die and they disappear. Unless, and here's the big thing that I will cover on Mac level 2, unless you have a backup. And the backup that you should have is a time machine. Now, let me explain. I'm not going to teach you today time machine nor tomorrow time machine, but the third week of class, Mary asked this earlier on, we're going to work on backing up our computers. I don't want you to think that, oh, my stuff is in the cloud, I don't need to back it up. No. Ideally, you have the stuff in the cloud if you choose or not. That's not a choice I'm going to make for you, because if you have it in the cloud, you have to pay some more to put all your stuff in there. But if you don't have it in the cloud, for sure you need a backup. And even if you have it in the cloud, for sure you need a backup. Because backup is different than being on the cloud. Now, today I explained back and forth with many different apps that if you have something on your computer and it's in the cloud, it's on your phone, right? Keep that idea in mind. Say that I have, again, Janine's phone number in my phone. If I delete it from my phone, what's going to happen to that contact in the cloud and on my computer?
Still be there.
No, it's
Oh,
all the same space. It is gone from the cloud and from the computer. So this is really important, really important. If those little sliders are all turned on, it is one piece of data that happens to show up in 3 places. But if I delete Janine's contact, it deletes from my cloud and it deletes from my computer. I have lost Janine's contact. Does that make sense, you guys? If I have a photo and I delete that photo from my computer, it deletes from the cloud and it deletes from my phone. Because this is one environment, one system, it is not 3 different files. Otherwise, if I update Janine's computer address, because I met her on the street, she gave me a new address. If it's immediately correct on my computer as well, it means that it's the same thing. And if I delete it on one, I delete it on the others. If it doesn't, if I have one contact on my computer and one on my phone, and I delete it on one and it doesn't delete on the other one, it means it's not the same thing, meaning the computer didn't update when I put in the new stuff. Does that make sense? So either you have them separate, and then if you lose your phone, you lose the contact, or you have them all connected. So if you lose your phone, you don't lose the contact, but if you delete the contact, it deletes from everywhere. Is that clear what I'm saying? Is that pretty, it's okay. So even if you have all your stuff in the cloud, in comes the time machine backup, which thank you so much, Justine, for that little comment in the chat where she says, Diana showed me how to set up my class in time machine. And she's so thankful because you guys, the last saving grace when nothing else works, your time machine has all your information in history, and that's why it's named. So the time machine is a different kind of backup than the iCloud. iCloud is not a backup. It's just another place for the same information. In a way, it works as a backup because if your computer dies, you put an Apple ID, it comes in. So people think it's a backup, but no, you would never describe the cloud as a backup, because a backup that is the definition of a backup is when something is there in case something tragic happens to everything else. You have a replacement for it. So if every time I delete something, it disappears, and then next week when I want to go find it, it's gone, that was in the cloud, that was not backed up. A backup means it's somewhere else. Okay, so a backup is a separate place that holds all your stuff, no matter that you deleted it or not. And that is what this time machine is going to provide us. And we're going to set up a time machine for anyone who does not have one yet during that last week of class. Now, that time machine that we're going to set up is going to be, some of you already set it up, but there's also ways of using it that I'll teach you, even if you have set it up and others have questions because you set it up, but you're still not clear about stuff. All I need you guys to do is to have an extra hard drive. You need to have an extra hard drive. And this I covered also in the other classes, but this is so important. I'm going to cover it here again. if you have, let me share my screen. If you have, and I have to minimize some stuff because I have so many things open here. If you have, go up to the Apple, go to About This Mac, right? And some of you already did this with me, but if you've never done this with me, do it now. Go to Apple, About This Mac. And then when you go to About This Mac, go to Storage. Go to the word storage. All right. Whatever number it says here, you need at least double that number, right? And what you need to do is you need to buy a hard drive. I'm going to open Safari again, and I'm going to go to, you can buy it from any store. If you want to buy it in person here, you can go to Best Buy or to Costco. Maybe, I don't even know, is it Office Max or Staples still open in town? I don't know. If you want, Office Max is open in town, Apple Store, Mac Mechanic, right? So all these places that I just mentioned, you need to buy a portable hard drive. If you go online, I don't know, Amazon, or again, all of these places online, right? So basically you need to buy a portable hard drive, right? When I write portable hard drive, what shows up here immediately? External. I've told you many times that external hard drive and portable hard drive are synonymous. They say the same thing, right? So if you buy a portable hard drive or an external hard drive, you're talking about the exact same thing. Okay, that's what you need to buy. So I'm going to put it in the chat, and I'm going to write portable / external because it's the same thing, hard drive, at least twice as big as your internal hard drive. And I put Herod, so let me hard drive. Buy a portable hard drive now. Those of you who've been in class since the beginning with me, I told you this months ago, so by now hopefully you already have it. Now, twice as big means whatever number you found here in the, again, About This Mac, you end up in overview, you go to storage, and it says a number. Now, if it says 500 gigabytes, double that is 1000 gigabytes. 1000 gigabytes we call 1 terabyte. Okay, so if you have 500 gigabytes, you need at least a 1 terabyte. If you have 250 gigabytes, you need at least 500 gigabytes. But basically, I'm going to say I recommend everyone just get at least, if you happen to have a 1 terabyte here, then you need 2 terabytes. I think that price-wise, the minimum you should get is a 1 terabyte, even if you have less here. And if really between 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte, the price is almost the same. So at this point, before I used to say that you should have, you know, 500, whatever, we've gotten to the point where it's almost impossible to find any external hard drive that's under 2 terabytes. Like you find some 1 terabyte ones, they're the portable ones that people carry around in their pockets. They're more expensive than the 2 terabyte ones because of their portability. So I would say go buy a 2 terabyte, you know, or more, 2 terabyte. Oh, I've got to go to this keyboard. Sorry, I have 2 keyboards here. I recommend a 2 terabyte or more. Right? And then it'll work for everyone that's here, anywhere under the sun. Now, Suzanne added a question. How long does a time machine last? I bought mine in 2020. It lasts until it dies. No, or until it fills up, right? So hard drives die, and it's like, it makes sense, but yeah, hard drives die. Hard drives suddenly begin to click or do whirring noises, and it's like, aha, run and get another one. It's dying. Sometimes it makes no warning. One day you wake up and it's just not working anymore. Hard drives die. Like cars suddenly stop working, and dishwashers and refrigerators, which I told you guys last week. We lived off of a cooler for 10 days, and it finally came, and it's fine. It's worse than the one I had, and I wasn't able to get the one I wanted. But hey, we have a cooler again. We have a refrigerator. It just one day it stopped working. Hard drives do that too. It stops, and by the way, we had fixed it enough times that we said, "Ugh, it's time." So we just got another one. So when it dies, it dies. And if it's holding your backups, right? That's not good, but it might last for years. It might never die. And if in that case, it dies when it fills up, which is why I say buy something at least twice as big as your hard drive or more, because the bigger it is, the many more years it lasts. Now, why? Because your data adds up. Okay. Yeah, so Alan gave an answer. Eventually it fills up. And if so, it starts to lose older versions of saved files. So say that you guys need to understand, for those of you who don't understand Time Machine yet, these questions, these answers make no sense because they go, fills up with what, right? So for those of you who don't understand Time Machine, I will explain this, but just so you know, it grows. It grows, and that's all I'm gonna say. So it keeps adding itself up over time because it remembers everything you did. And if you did get rid of a contact and it's not in your phone, it's not on a computer, it's not on the cloud, you can go to your Time Machine to last week and go, oh, last week I still had it there. So in the Time Machine, you'll go and find Janine's contact that you by mistake deleted. And that's why it grows, because you keep adding data. And that's why at some point it fills up. And at that point, it starts getting rid of the oldest files. But if those oldest files are 1 year old, or if they're 3 years old, it depends on how big your hard drive was. Okay, so we'll explain how to set it up. It's really, really easy. It's like 2 buttons. We'll explain what to do. Your job right now is to buy one if you don't have one, a portable external drive. That's, I would recommend 2 terabytes at this point or more, because anything cheaper than smaller than 2 terabyte is actually more expensive now, surprisingly enough. And you can get it Mac Mechanic, Apple Store, Best Buy, Costco, whatever you want. But if you want to go local for a great store, and I know you weren't here, Justine, but we spent quite a bit of talking to really, about Mac Mechanic and what a great store they are. Go support some
cool.
amazing local store, buy it from them. Betsy mentioned another place who repairs computers, but I know they sell it. But Mac Mechanic does sell computers. It sells hard drives. The question that Owen has, that's a different question, okay? It's not referring to what we're talking about right now. It's types of hard drives, and that's about internal hard drives. Internal hard drives are the ones that come with your computer. When I say internal hard drive, it's attached. You can't change it. It's what your computer came with. A long time ago on a computer, you could change the hard drive on a Mac, but you haven't been able to change a hard drive on a Mac in eons. So it's stuck. What you buy a computer with is what you have. The external hard drive, so that internal one can be an SSD, a flash drive, that kind of thing, but that's not a conversation for portable hard drives. So it doesn't, I'm not going to refer to that right now, if you don't mind. Now that you know what you need to buy and why, we're not going to talk anymore about backups until the end. But if you have questions about that thing that you need to buy or something like that, just let me know. Now, some people say, can I use one that I have already? As long as you're okay losing everything that's on it, because we have to reformat it to become a Time Machine. So if you're using one for something else, can you also use it for a Time Machine? No, unless you want to lose that. You can repartition and all that stuff, but to do any of that, you would lose what's on it. So if you have a hard drive that has stuff on it and that you don't want to lose, no, you cannot use that hard drive. It has to either be new or an older one that you're going to wipe clean and now use for a Time Machine. Okay. And then in which case, yes, you can use an old one that has stuff that's dispensable, so to say. Now that's why we need you to prepare. And now I see Molly, your hand is up. I need to prepare for the 3rd week of class. So basically you have 10 days at this point or something like that to buy one. Yeah, Molly?
Yeah, when I get my new iPhone, I don't have desktop and documents and photos with iCloud, but I do have a Time Machine and external drive. Well, could that be transferred easily to my new iPhone?
I Yes and no. You mean that on your computer, because Molly reached out to me that she's buying a new phone, and so talked about setting up a new phone. So let me answer that really quickly. When you
Yes.
say you don't have them turned on, you mean here you don't have things on your
Right,
computer turned on?
right. I
Okay,
don't have photos and also the desktop too.
okay, so here's important. If you don't have the photos turned on here on your desktop,
Yeah,
if you, it's a bit of a longer explanation because the photos is a different thing. Your photos, you don't take on your computer a photo. You don't take your computer around taking pictures. You take your pictures with your phone or with your iPad, right? Most of the time.
yes,
that's your phone,
yes, I
right?
do. Yes,
People use the iPad, but I've always thought it's so strange to be in Yosemite and someone's got this big iPad taking pictures, but I've seen it happen. So for the most part, people take photos with their phone. So if your phone
Mhm.
has this turned off,
Yes,
if your phone, not your computer, I'm showing you this here right now, but if it's your phone that has that turned off,
phone.
those photos live in the phone, and when your phone dies, you lose all your photos.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it is pretty crucial that if you don't want to, and let me actually do the share of my phone. I mean, let me just stop this share. And let me first share. That's warning me that we have 5 minutes left of class.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. I do this because no, I don't, the question is not the problem. I'm apologizing that I get all these, I'm apologizing to you that I'm using, that I'm getting alarms, which sounds like, a problem, but these are class alarms is all I'm saying. So in my Photos app, if my phone has this turned off,
Mhm.
then if your phone dies, your photos die with your phone. So the most important place to have this turned on is on your phone. Do you guys understand?
Mhm.
Because the photos that are on your phone, if this is on, goes to the cloud, and then they reside there safe, that if phones do die or drop much more easier than computers, because they're portable, because you're carrying it around, because things happen, you forget it somewhere and someone stole it. So that said, if this is turned on, then you need space in the cloud for your stuff, right? For your photos and your videos. So this is the one, that's the one that Mary is, or whoever mentioned, I think Mary, how much space you have on your cloud. This is the culprit, right? If you leave this off, if you want it off, keep it off. But if you turn it on, don't just turn it off again, because if you turn it off, the default place is the cloud. It stays in the cloud and it disappears from your phone and from your computer, just so you know. So it's, long story short, if it's on, leave it on. And if it's off, the only, in real life in the past, when we had cameras and we had negatives, if you lost your photo, you could reprint the photo you had the negative. Now, there are no negatives. All you have is this file that is living in a very insecure place. It's your phone. And thus, if this is not on, it dies with your phone. If you're about to replace your phone,
Yes.
I would recommend highly to having this on so that your photos do go to the cloud.
Thank you.
Then when you buy your new phone and you put in your Apple ID, all those photos go back into your phone.
Okay.
Now,
Thank you.
Now, if, and I'm gonna stop my share. If on the other hand, your computer, and this is the last question, if it's your computer, on the other hand, that has or doesn't have this on, right?
Mhm.
Again, follow the thought process. If this is on, that means that the photos that your phone takes go to the cloud and come into your computer, right? That's the same. But some of you guys don't have your computer turned on. And that is the question that it depends on if you want to handle and manage all your photos from your phone, or do you want to handle them from your computer? Because again, you don't take these photos on your computer, you handle them. When you come to class, to the iLife class, I will teach you how to handle them. But this matters a little bit less as far as not losing your photos.
I get it.
Because this is a place where you manage them, but where you don't want to lose them is from your phone where you've taken them. Does that make sense? Now, I highly recommend that if your photo's already in the cloud, then it should be turned on here again, because then it's reciprocal and then you can handle them, because this doesn't take up more space.
Mhm.
It just takes up, it just lets you see them also on your computer. But where I do highly recommend having it on is on your phone, because I can't tell you how many people are so sad that they have all these photos of, their grandkids or their trip or their whatever, and then they lose the phone. Or people who didn't know, because you go buy the new phone, by the way, you go buy a new phone, if your phone has already been working, that's fine. They might tell you, oh, let's transfer your stuff. But if your phone died, there's nothing to transfer. You put in your Apple ID, you get all your stuff from your computer, and guess what? Your photos were never on your computer, so they can't go up. So you know what I mean? If
Yes.
they were on your computer, then they could go up. On the other hand, if your photo is old and you buy a new one because your phone is still working, and you go to the store and they don't ask you, they might just disable that phone and give you your new one and not ask you, because they don't assume in the Apple store, they don't even guess that you might have not had it on. Mac Mechanic might think about that, but in the Apple store, they assume you're using Apple the way Apple wants itself to be used. So they might be great mechanics, but they don't think in the thought processes of people who might have turned things off versus the I find that in Mac Mechanic, they are much better at thinking of people's various settings and choices. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
then they might help you save your photos. So just be careful with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Now, the whole point of the time machine also is that even if you do have stuff on your computer that you don't have in the cloud, then what the time machine will do is going to back it all up and then keep the historical memory of that. So you can go back in that photo that you deleted of your Aunt Matilda, that she didn't look good. And then suddenly your Aunt Matilda passes away and you go, oh, I want that photo, even if she didn't look good. Guess what? Your time machine will have it, but not your phone or the cloud, right? So there's another reason to want to use your cloud. All right. So guys, I see that, and I have to close up literally in 30 seconds. So if I can answer your question in 30 seconds, if not, ask me again next week. So Anna, what's your question?
I have a external hard drive, and I think that this is what I put in my computer, our computers, but I don't see my old computer stuff. Do you think I damage it? It's a 2 terabyte.
If it's got, that's what we need to buy, a thing that looks like that. But if you've already used it to put stuff in, do you know if you did it as a time machine or just as an extra hard drive?
No, I don't remember. I think extra hard drive, but I don't see any of my old photos and
Okay,
everything.
So
I love.
next class, plug it into your computer, and next class, I'll ask you to share your screen. I'll look into it and see what's in it, and then we'll see if it works as a time machine or not, okay?
Okay, that means what I have before is gone.
No, I'm saying I don't know. Next class, plug it into the computer, share your screen with me, and I'll look at it and tell you. Right now, without seeing what's in it, I can't tell you if it's usable or not for time machine.
Thank
Okay?
you. Have a good.
You're welcome. Okay, guys, that's it. Basically, the homework is at this point, go to your computers and system preferences and to your phone system preferences, and just make sure that the same things that are turned on both are turned on. Next week, next class, there's next week this time, we'll jump into using these apps and then being able to compare and see if you add in one computer a bookmark on Safari, or if you add a calendar appointment and all that, you'll see it on all your devices, and you're gonna keep working with that. Okay? You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, teacher.
Have a great
Thank you.
weekend. Thank you.